No intro, watch my podcast. It's about the Aftons. Watch it now. Thanks, bye. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dreading Hour. Cryonide's dead!
R.I.P.
However, we do have two special guests. You guys are still special guests for the time being. You need to hit at least like 4 episodes before you become non-special.
Special guest.
Become series regulars after that, get a slight pay increase.
Before you become guests.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
Can someone stamp my frequent podcasting card?
So we have Gibi and Candii Bunny. Say hi.
Oh. Hi.
Hi everyone, my name's Gibi and I have a channel. It's called Gibi's Horror Homestead. You may recognize me from such videos as I read the FNaF book so you don't have to, and I played the FNaF game so you don't have to, and I talk about FNaF lore because I'm clinically insane.
And from such theories as Wright's Fiction.
Wright's Fiction.
That
Stole
went
it
over
from
well.
Sire Squawks, it's mine now.
Anyway, so today, we talked about the Mimic last time, and I'm all mimicked out. So we'll go back to the more interesting villain and his family. And we're going to talk about the Aftons today, because there are a lot of interpretations about pretty much everything to do with them. And so we'll start with the stupidest one. Gibi, my friend.
Yes.
Does Mrs. Afton exist?
Oh, the
Okay.
question is stupid, not Gibby's stupid. That makes you feel better.
I mean, a lot of people seem to think my take is stupid. So, I don't know.
Go ahead,
I did do a video about this.
Yeah.
I got some stuff wrong in it, so I'm glad that I have the opportunity to clear it up. My opinion is that if Scott cared about Mrs. Afton, she would be in the games. She would be literally represented anywhere by anything. So I think that while she obviously exists, as in like William had a wife and has 3 children, I don't think that she's like the CEO of FazBear, like Matt Pat seemed to think before he left. I don't think that like, oh, Ballora is designed after Mrs. Afton. And then the big one that I think I disagree with most people on is that I don't think that the tapes from Security Breach, I do not think that those are about Elizabeth. I think the theory is that like Vanessa was like implanted with Elizabeth's memories. So when she said like, oh, my mom killed herself and my dad made me testify against her in court, like people seem to think that that's about Elizabeth and therefore about Mrs. Afton. I disagree. I think that the better writing technique there would be that that's Vanessa's actual backstory. So as far as I'm concerned, Mrs. Afton doesn't exist.
I just made her. She just happened to have a dad named Bill.
Well, that part might be fake, but I think like, what's the point in telling us that like, oh, here's Elizabeth's story. This is like 5 games after Elizabeth was introduced. Baby's long gone. I think that using the opportunity of these patient records to tell us more information about Vanessa, the new like main character, is just a much better writing technique.
Well, as we know, Steelwool are the greatest storytellers of all time.
Listen. For all we know, they told the story they wanted to tell flawlessly.
True.
It just completely clashed with what was actually going on.
Vanessa's dad is Bill Cipher, actually.
Yeah.
I have heard that actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
totally.
Yeah, because you have like, see, the way I see it is all the FNaF books are damage control. FazBear Frights is simply Matt Pat damage control, and Tales from the Pizzaplex is Steel Wool damage control.
So you mean that like Scott wrote them because Steel Wool messed up?
Almost. For some stories, yes, I do think so. Same for FazBear. I think Step Closer only exists because of Matt Pat's Mike victim propaganda.
God.
I hear Raito say that a lot, that like it's Tales from the Pizzaplex is the course correction after Security Breach didn't tell the story they were intending.
Well, yeah, furthermore, I don't think fucking Submechanophobia is trying to tell us anything. But, some of the books are like, you know, they mean things.
I think there's an argument that like, and I personally have not like delved into the Tales books. This is a big blank area for me, but I think that there's an argument to be made that they're almost like more canon than Security Breach, just because Scott almost had like more guidance over them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he said in the interview that he writes out the draft and then sends it to somebody who can actually write.
Yeah, like a 10-page draft. I don't know. So apparently we don't know for sure who wrote like the Stitch Wraith stingers, but the theory is that it's Scott. And me reading them, I'm like, this sounds kind of like Scott. They're very like formal. They're very descriptive. They're very like, he looked at the house. It was this kind of house of this color. He knocked on the door. It was a wooden door of this color. And it's like, oh, Scott is just very technical. He's very just.
Well, he's always done visual.
The way it is.
Yeah, he always did visual storytelling.
Well, Scott Cawthon is the greatest writer on Earth.
That is true.
Scott Cawthon is the greatest
writer on Earth. He makes Tolkien fucking look like a worm. Like a worm.
It's actually been stuck in my head for days. That's not going to be released. I was going to say that's not going to be released before this. They don't even know what we're talking about.
No. Chad, it's going to be.
Is this a teaser or is it going to get cut out?
No, it'll be an. I'll leave it in. This will be my Scott Games teaser.
Heck yeah.
Guys, prepare for peak.
In the flesh of the best book on the earth, because it by Matthew Patrick fucking Gipper. Bars.
Jackie's Box 2.
Freaking banger. Speaking back on the Mrs. Afton thingamawop, the Afton family.
Knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, the nanny bot though looks a little bit like Ballora, and she's the only nanny bot in the whole. They don't. God. But really, the similarities are just that she has the same hair color. And then she also has like the fun time like cheeks, but all of the staff bots do.
She's like purple hair, right?
Yeah. It's like that light purpley, bluey that Ballora has.
Yes.
That bot is literally that's why MadPat was like, Mrs. Afton. Right? I'm pretty sure that literally is why. Is that one bot.
I do think that is supposed to be Mrs. Afton. My like comment toward people who are like, well, that proves therefore that Ballora is Mrs. Afton, is that one, Steel Wool may have thought that Ballora was Mrs. Afton.
Truth.
And two, that if her hair is going to be any color, it's probably going to be purple because they're the little happy purple family.
Mm-hmm.
These are the purple men.
The purple people.
And then the purple woman.
I feel like Ballora might represent Mrs. Afton, but I don't think he's like, all right, wife's corpse, in you go.
Yeah.
She wouldn't fit. Maybe she was really short. I think also, when I was considering whether or not the Stafton bot is supposed to be a reference to Ballora, there's like A, the question of whether or not it is, and B, the question of whether or not that was one of the few details that Scott was like, put this here, or if that was a Steel Wool detail, which is ever the question of Security Breach.
So regarding go ahead, Gibi.
No, you go ahead. You're the host. I'm not going to be rude. Okay. You talk.
Well, I was about to change the topic. I was about to change the topic. So
okay. Well, now I look like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I was going to say even if like retroactively Ballora is a representation of Mrs. Afton, as you kind of just said, like that does not mean that she's made from her remnant, and it also doesn't mean that like Mrs. Afton was a dancer or Mrs. Afton, wanted to know why William was hiding in his walls, which apparently this is what I got wrong in my video. The Ballora song was written by the voice actress and not by Scott. Yeah. So I don't think there's a lot of lore in there at all.
Oh my gosh, I just got a really vivid flashback to like the community update that you made after that, talking about the viewer who like nailed the interpretation of that song. I was playing Minecraft and I was on a boat on an ocean.
That sounds very peaceful.
Yeah.
In Minecraft. I was not playing Minecraft on a boat. I was in Minecraft.
It would be even more cool though.
That would, yeah.
Sitting there in like Orlando. Get the iPad out, Pocket Edition on. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So regarding Mrs. Afton, really like subtle topic. I don't think a lot of people argue on this. Who is the couch person?
My God.
Who's the couch person?
Midnight Motorist.
My opinion.
Midnight Motorist.
Yes. Soul splitting, body splitting.
Body splitting. Gibby, I actually forgot your opinion. Don't be mad at me.
Okay, that's fine. The Midnight Motorist.
A random dude.
With her
that's
chat,
right. Yeah,
that was
random guy.
I think it could be the motorist's wife or father or literally who cares, because I just think that it's a depiction of the family of an MCI victim. And so these are just their two parents who don't care. The mother who watches television instead of looking after her child, and the father who gets drunk and drives around at late hours.
It all depends who you think yellow guy is meant to be.
Yep.
I've seen people actually literally be like, it can't be Mrs. Afton because the sprite is bald. Be like,
There's
that's
also
great.
there's an ongoing misconception that file is labeled man sitting.
Yeah,
A lot of
not.
people, I don't know where that started, but it's not.
It's
That's just like
backdrop,
literally
yeah.
not a thing.
Backdrop something or other.
They're like person 02 or something. Yeah.
That's because that made its way into a Sire Squawks video as well.
That he thought that, or that he corrected people on that.
No, that someone told him that, and he put it in the video as evidence.
Yeah, no, it's misconception.
Yeah.
It is Mrs. Afton, and the sprite is bald because it's right before or after her chemotherapy, and that's where she went. Wait, that's really sad.
Yeah, that's actually kind of tragic.
Well, then why isn't the nanny staff bot bald? Boom.
Boom.
Roasted.
Destroyed.
Deconformed.
Take that
Oh
one.
man.
Deconfirmed.
How do you like that, Reddit? All right, well, that's really all there's to say on Mrs. Afton. She's not very deep. I guess, who's the next one? Then, in order of, like, least to most complicated, I feel like most complicated is the bite victim, honestly.
Yep.
Here, we can go with Michael. Father, it's me, Michael.
I
have
did
one
it.
line of dialogue.
I found it.
Right where you said it would be.
Quote Mike from the movies, but I suddenly forget everything that he says.
He said, my sister was taken by the animatronics, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
Father,
What's the whole movie?
I'm taking hydrocodone. I'm on painkillers, Father. All right.
Okay, so let's just start with this timeline wise. How old are we thinking Mike is in FNaF 4?
No older than 14.
Wait, I had like the perfect age that I somehow mathematically worked out, and then I forgot it. But it was definitely around 14.
Yeah, that's also what I think.
Perfect age for him to turn 18 right at when I thought sister location was at the time. But who knows what
Imagine your
location is.
first job is fucking circus babies. That shit would suck. Because we know he has to be 18 by the time of sister location, which
Does he have to
honestly,
be?
I mean, unless you think he's 16.
Because you can work as young as 14, and you can work even younger at a family business.
Yeah, well, it
That
depends.
is technically true.
Oh, yeah.
But he has his own apartment.
Does he though?
Well, that's what we don't-
Is that not just?
Or is
that
he
not just
living
his
in the
house?
Pizzaplex?
Well, we know he is.
Well, because then you get into the funny questions we had to do in like the giant 7-hour FNaF 4 stream I just did, where it was like, why does Michael Afton have the lamp in his room that's from the experiment chambers? How the fuck did he get the experiment chamber lamp into his house?
Lamps come in pairs, and he took that one, and
as we
William
all
took
know,
the other one.
as we all know.
Lamps come in pairs?
Yeah, you got one lamp on the one side of the bed, the other lamp on the other side of the bed. Is lamp pairs.
I've never acquired a new lamp.
I was about to say, I've also never acquired a new lamp.
But I should know this. Literally, the most magical place on Earth is the lights aisle of Menards or other home stores. Extremely magical.
See, I don't even know what that is.
A Menards? Is that?
We don't have those.
Did I
We
just
don't have
dox
those
myself?
over here. Is that a Midwest thing?
Potentially. Hold
I
on.
live in the
Potentially.
United States.
I
I
do
don't know how
live in the
people are
United
gonna
States.
find me.
Come
Whenever I
find
say,
me.
like, I'm like, I went to Wawa. People are like, what if the heck are you speaking a different language? What are you talking about? I'm like,
Okay.
it's like Quick Check. And then people are like, what is Quick Check? I'm like, okay.
I went
People
to
now know I
Skibbity's.
have at least been in either Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, West Virginia,
I think you're
Wisconsin, or
safe.
Wyoming. Yeah,
you're safe.
I'm feeling pretty good.
One of those states. There's only like 17 people and some cows in all those states, though, so maybe they can narrow it down.
True.
Yeah. And then okay, so let's see. So we have Michael in FNaF 4. Okay, let's go character wise. Why do we think that he is such a dickhead? Because I always thought it was because he's like he has to do 99% of the parenting by himself. That was my interpretation. Because I doubt William's ass is like ever like home. So it's probably they get home from school and then he follows Michael around all day. And Michael's like, wow, this is fucking annoying.
As a former teenage boy who was both a younger brother and an older brother, I think he's just kind of a bit of a jerk.
Just because that's what brothers do.
That's just literally what brothers do. I also think that Scott may have wanted to make like a wider point about just like bullying in general, because that's also like how Charlie died. It's just like, yeah, he's just like, he's 14, he's stupid, he's got to take care of his stupid little brother, but he wants to take care of his friends. And then that's a problem because he gets dead.
I mean, that's a similar thought process to the kid from VIP.
Yep.
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
exactly the same.
My older brother used to put me on the trampoline and hurl basketballs and baseballs at me.
Real.
And called it boot camp and told me he was teaching me how to catch.
Real.
In fact, he was teaching me how to dodge, but also a useful skill.
Yeah.
Bombardment.
I don't know. I think that, yeah, Michael's, I think it's a little bit of both, but that Michael has like a predisposition to be a jerkish older sibling as we all go through that phase, especially around middle school. And at the same time, he was not being checked at all. There was no present parent figure to do anything but make the situation worse. And so in theory, it should have been, you know, more like hurling basketballs at his younger brother and less like shoving his brother who's actively having a panic attack into the mouth of an animatronic.
Yeah, it was also just like the early 80s. Like, obviously, that was over a decade before I was born, but people apparently, you know, you watch some Stephen King movies, people are just throwing rocks at each other.
Yeah,
stabbing each other with pocket knives, you know?
Pretty mid back then.
It was pretty mid back then.
Yeah, so I've heard. All right, what else? Let's see. All right, so then
Does anyone have a controversial take that like maybe Foxy Bro isn't Mike?
no.
Okay. Chirp chirp. Nope. I swear there's gonna be someone in the comments who's just like, can you prove that Foxy Bro is Mike anywhere?
Well, yeah, I guess, but I mean, like, it's like they seem to be hammering it home pretty hard, as indirectly as they can.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, guys, into the pit. There's a Foxy mask next to the exotic butters.
Your impersonations are killing me. They're so good.
And in the survivor logbook, we can see Foxy in the FNaF Theory office.
God, you could narrate a phone book and I'd listen to it.
Oh, I'm doing.
Seriously.
So I will spoil this for all of you. I am doing a meme video called "Every Golden Freddy Theory Ever," and it's just going to be me going like, "If you look closely, you can see that Golden Freddy is yellow. What could this symbolize? I asked ChatGPT what the color yellow means, and it told me this. In Imperial China, yellow represents power. This can only mean that since Golden Freddy has power over William, that Cassidy immigrated from ancient China to America."
No, but that's backed up by the logbook. The girl looks kinda Asian in the logbook. The black-haired girl. This is facts. This is canon. Where's my logbook? Where's that? We're breaking out the real facts
So she was
now.
in ancient Imperial China and used the ball pit to travel forward.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm cooking. See, I'm gonna make an entire 10-minute video just doing like, and every 5 seconds I'm gonna go, so I asked ChatGPT what this means.
Oh, that's gonna be so freaking good.
And like for one bit, I'm like, it's like, Scott Cawthon hasn't commented on this, so I asked ChatGPT what Scott Cawthon would say, and it told me that he'd say this. It's gonna be so ridiculous.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, she's totally Asian. No, I'm right. This is Cassidy confirmed. Okay.
I just
Page
solved
31 in the
Golden
logbooks,
Freddy.
guys. You did.
Right, whoever makes the FNaF Theory wiki, I need you to put like Imperial Cassidy as the theory right now.
Cassidy's there on page 31 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Andrew is the vengeful spirit. Cassidy is the soul of a samurai.
Monarch. All right. So then we get to the final dialogue, which is, yeah, he's like, "I'm sorry. I fucked up. You know how it was just a prank. It wasn't supposed to go this way.
Just a prank, bro.
Just a prank, bro." And then now we have a significant period of time where we don't know what the hell happens to Michael.
R.I.P. Foxy Bro, you would have loved prank channels.
So I've heard a very common, especially from people that believe Midnight Motorist, there's a very common line of events where William, this is the exact process, right? And this all happens within like 3 days, essentially. So they're like, William Afton is like, oh, my son is dead. And then Michael Afton's like, oh, yeah, that was kind of me. And then boom, nightmare gas chambers created. Michael inserted. Midnight Motorist, he will be sorry. And that's it. They like a lot of people think like William's just like, oh, your brother's dead. To the gas with you.
Oh Lord.
Now, would you agree with that or no?
Let me pretend that I think that Orange Guy is William.
Yeah.
The whole thing with the gas chamber. Let's come up with a different word for that. Actually, the whole thing with the experimental nightmare chamber.
Yeah.
Do we think? Okay, so this is kind of like taking two different pieces of evidence, right? It's taking the cameras that are showing the FNaF 4 gameplay room, and it's taking the chart, the power map thing that shows that sister location is connected to the FNaF 4 gameplay house and also the FNaF 4 mini game house and also the plush trap hallway and also fredbear's.
The breaker room.
The breaker room map. That's it. Do we? I don't. Especially, it's confusing because some people are going to be like, "It's Rory, so of course it's real because of Pizza Tales."
That's what I know a few people that believe that you do play as Rory in FNaF 4.
But like when Sister Location came out, what do we think Scott intended for us to take from that? Because there is no way he was like, oh, they're gonna solve it. They're gonna figure out a boy named Rory was kidnapped for 10 years and underwent these sleep experiments.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be like, it was multiple people or one of the protagonists.
So do we think that there's actually a test chamber underground with Mike's bedroom in it, or do we think William just had cameras in Mike's bedroom?
I think there is a test chamber underground with Mike's bedroom in it. Absolutely.
I think definitely the original intention was that there are cameras around the town. And in Mike's bedroom.
So I don't have a strong opinion on this. I've been trying to work on this little theory, so maybe this can be like a brainstorming thing. I'm trying to relate the Nightmare Chamber and FNaF 4 and like both those things together, kind of with the way that Mike tries to enter his dreams in the movie, where he's like recreating the events. You know, he's looking at the Nebraska poster, he's listening to the forest sounds, so that he can get back in that headspace and maybe obtain knowledge. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's intending on recreating the experience that happened, and then that's kind of where I don't know what to think next.
Underscore thinks something similar, which is that, and now of course you couldn't get to this conclusion using only the games, but when can you get to anything using only the games now? He thinks that Michael or CC originally had those dreams, like they were real dreams of like spooky animatronics, and then they told William about them, and then William recreated the dreams and put people in them. So a little,
even like
little wacky.
When FNaF 4 and the Silver Eyes would have been around the same time, right? Like he was writing the Silver Eyes in no, that was after. When was the Silver Eyes? Let's pull up some calendar.
I have all the release dates on a document.
Early 2015, I believe. I believe it was early 2015.
Scott seemed to think that like it's odd that nobody solved FNaF 4, right? Like that was kind of his.
Well, I mean, Didophobia came out years after. So clearly he wanted us to know something that we didn't know.
But even like Illusion Discs came out years later, and Scott thought that FNaF 4 was solvable before the Silver Eyes.
Well, that's because FNaF 4 was not originally an underground testing chamber. He did
so
it.
What do we?
He did what I call
it originally was.
He did what I call a Scott Con, which is you take something that you originally intended to mean something and then give it an entirely new meaning, but you're allowed to because you never technically said it meant the original thing.
My gosh.
A Scott Con.
That's a Scott Con.
I have the date wrong for the twisted ones.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think so? I personally think that in FNaF 2, Scott did know that the puppet character, the Save Him character, was supposed to be the founder of Fredbear's child. Like, I don't think that was a Scott Con. I think that was like, oh, the phone guy's going to call the founder of Fredbear's Family Diner. Like, that character might not have been named Henry.
Yeah.
But I think Scott knew that, like, that was the owner, and then it was his Son at the time, I guess. Son who died outside the restaurant. So like I don't think that would have been a Scott Con, but do you think that would be a Scott Con?
I have honestly no idea.
Okay, but you do think that FNaF 4 changed retroactively?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I would say in the original FNaF 4, we might play as either the crying child in a coma, which is what MatPat thought, or Michael, but he is so guilty, and this is just a manifestation in his own head of like his guilt of what he did, and he has these dreams years later. So after FNaF 1, he just has nightmares. That's what they are. They're nightmares. But Michael's having them because he feels so guilty. That's what I originally think. I think as of Sister Location, they were 100% meant to be experiments. I think in 2016, Scott knew they were experiments.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fandom didn't catch on until then, though.
He did make a comment sometime after FNaF 4, something to the effect of like, "Oh, people really care about this story. I guess I have to make it good." And to me,
Good one, Scott.
I kind of I kind of see that and I'm like, could this big massive retcon be that Mike Schmidt, Fred Smith, the Frights Guard, Foxy Bro,
Yeah,
and now, Eggs Benedict, that they're all the same person, they're all Mike and they're all Purple Guy Son? Like, was his idea of I need to make the story good, just like I need to make the story Star Wars?
I need to make the Purple Guy Son.
It's Purple Guy Son.
He got entered inside of him, dog.
My God.
No, it got that entered in me.
Yeah. All right. So then, okay. So anyway, back to my original question, because we know that the underground gas experiments do exist. Did Michael get put in them as a punishment?
I think that no matter what it is, it needs to be something that Mike didn't necessarily want to do, because my reading of it is that William has him play the plush trap game. And if he wins the game, then the experiment that night is shorter.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a reward. Not participating is a reward.
Yeah. So skipping 2 hours. Yeah, William allows him to skip 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll only wake you up at 3 a.m., son.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say yes. Now, a punishment for killing Dave Cece? I don't know. But definitely something that he did not want to be doing.
I don't know that I think that Mike needs to be put in the nightmare gas chambers at all.
Well, it's either him or CC. It has to be, because he draws it in the logbook.
Yeah.
So it has to either through remnant vision-tisms or he's actually there. It has to be one of them.
I think
there's just not test chambers.
That's fair, actually.
You will be canceled on Twitter. You will be canceled on Twitter.
I'm going to be canceled for what I'm going to say later, so it's fine.
I just made a Twitter. I could get canceled speedrun it. Actually, there's no way I'd have the speedrun. I've had it for like 3 days now.
No, Gibi, I guarantee you it's going to be, I was watching T-Dread's podcast and Gibi said he didn't think the chambers were real. And then be like, no.
I think that it's possible, and I would think I like the timeline maybe more just because it's cleaner. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right. If Mike isn't put in at all, and it is just the crying child, Dave, little Dave, and that, like the dream sequences of FNaF 2, which I think are like visions being given to Mike, their visions being given to Mike. So it's mixing, yeah. This is not that much of a controversial take. I think people have definitely heard it before. Mixing crying child memories with
absolutely
a little bit of Mike's.
Yep. Because somehow somehow MatPat came to the conclusion of Mike victim, even though like years before that in the fourth closet, you literally get a scene of when you're injected with a remnant, you can access other people's like domain expansion, as it were. So he would have been able to see CC's memories, obviously, just like how Carlton can see the MCI kids. Yeah.
Yes, and that's
season 2 of JJK. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God! I'm literally in the middle of the one of the arcs. I didn't even notice what you were talking about. I'm a fake nerd. Anyway, that is obviously, that's part of my big theory that I do think that Mike was injected with a remnant and was able to like see spiritual stuff.
I agree.
I'm curious, Gibi, about your Mike movie trying to re-dream the FNaF 4 nighttime gameplay. Is that happening around FNaF 3 that he's dreaming that?
So I would say, so I think that he dreams, just because I think it's narratively satisfying that he dreams the FNaF 4 dreams that we actually play through right before FNaF 3, and it kind of like spurs him to go and continue his quest. Also, in the logbook, it says recent dreams, and he draws Nightmare. So that's, I think, important for the timeline.
I mean, he's
But
probably been having them for years.
Yes, and I think the dreams are like based on experiences he really had, because obviously we see that like there's really a bedroom. But I think that he's sort of allowing himself to participate in some sort of experiment because it'll give him better insight into something. Like, I think the movie might be trying to tell us something. I just don't know what that thing is.
Is it like the movie where he's trying to go back to that memory to try and remember something?
So, like, ideally, yes, but then I don't know what he would have to try to remember. Like, this is why it's a half-baked theory. Because, like, it's not like he has to remember what happened the day that he got Dave killed because he was there.
Perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now.
Relevant.
True.
Yes. Very interesting.
Unhappiest day canon.
Unhappiest day.
Let me see.
Middest day.
Middest day. Decent day. Okay, so then Michael gets out of something. I really wish we had more context as to what the hell happens to him between 4 and sister location. Clearly he's in contact with William, but his speech makes it sound like they're communicating over Skype. like
sticky notes on the fridge.
Yeah, like in Ruin with Cassie's dad.
Which does kind of line up with FNaF 4. I mean, William's not in the house then either.
Yeah, he sneaks in the dead of night to leave sticky notes on the fridge.
But hold up, how did they do regular long-distance communication in 1985?
Answering machines.
Landlines? Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all there was.
He sent him a letter in the mail.
Telegram for you, sir.
Father, it's me, Michael.
Genuinely.
I'm faxing you.
That might have been a call, like actually, it might have been a call from a phone booth.
My dogs are freaking out. Hold on.
Like,
Or
you know,
a payphone.
I'm living in shadows. Yeah, like a payphone just on the side of the road.
Like you'd seen like the epilogue of a movie.
Yeah, or like Silence of the Lambs when he's like doing the little phone call in a far distant country. Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that, but it could totally be because he's leaving a message, right?
Yeah.
It could totally be that he's calling the house from a payphone.
Yeah.
I think that's an objectively stupid move. Why would you tell the villain that you're coming after him?
That's true.
Well, yeah, but this is Michael Afton.
I don't know if it's diegetic or not.
Ooh, do you think it might not be diegetic? Like it's just for us?
I mean, you said that in your theory that it was like, I think it was you that said that. It was like, they thought I was you. This is meta.
I do think it's meta, but I also think it's real.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, because that's a good question. I guess now we'll have to answer, we'll have to answer, why does Michael go down to sister location and not William? Because there are two common interpretations of this. The first one is that William hates Michael's guts, and he's like 99% sure that Michael's going to die, and so he sends him down. Right? Second interpretation is that William is too busy. William is doing something, or William has been gone for such a long time that he's instructed Michael, hey, if I'm gone for like 30 years, dare say, could you go down and do this?
30 years from what point, Father? FNaF 1? FNaF 2? The MCI?
Read the Steam description, my son. Read the Steam.
Nothing at all.
Father, it's ambiguous.
All right, what do you think, Gibi? Why does Mike go down?
And again, with any theory, it's always like, well, this wouldn't make sense. But it's like, oh, Scott writes stuff that doesn't make sense all the time. Or the characters do stuff that wouldn't make sense all the time.
True.
But like, if William thought Mike would die, then Mike wouldn't be alive, would theoretically not be like, what are the chances that Mike would survive until the point when he put baby back together and then die, right? That's what a lot of theories are like. William did it on purpose so that he could cut out the loose ends. I'm like, well, what are the chances that happens? That is what happens. That's exactly what happens. But William can't count on that.
Well, yeah, I feel like I feel like he definitely wanted him to put her back together. I feel like he was honest about that. I feel like William did want, like, hey, go do this.
Yeah, I 100% think that.
But my question is, why didn't he do it? That's what's weird. Because you'd think,
I do think he was busy, but you know, I'll let you guys.
I will say, because William, I'm sure William would be better at whatever it is he's trying to do than Mike. I feel like William knows this stuff by now. The remnant stuff. Michael's like, what am I doing? Yeah.
Oh, that's me, Michael. The elevator stopped working and I don't know what the buttons do. Should I call the fire department?
I'm thinking, and I'm kind of spitballing actually. Where does that phrase come from? Spitballing, kind of gross.
I don't know. Go ahead. You give your take, then I'm going to say something controversial that will get me canceled.
Oh, great! Let's all get canceled. Right. That William is aware that it's dangerous and wants to put baby Elizabeth back together. And I think that the whole motivation is, well, he might have told Mike that he was just too busy to do it. But I don't think he's trying to send him down there to kill him. I don't think it's a death sentence. But I think he sends him down there because it is dangerous and because he doesn't, like, it's too risky for Afton to go himself because, you know, gotta look out for number one. So he sends his child down instead, but not to kill him, just because it's risky. And I think it's risky because, I don't know, there's like the recurring theme of like Afton having some level of control over the spirits, but it doesn't seem to me like Afton has control of the fun times. Like, I think that's what the electric shocks are all about, is for some reason, and I have no idea why, but the fun times just won't behave. And so he can't, normally he can go into any dangerous situation and do the wake up children, blah blah blah, whatever he does in the movie, and the Silver Eyes and stuff like that, but he can't do it to the fun times, and so he's making Mike do it. And it's Mike specifically, A, because Mike is there and will do what William says, and B, because like it seems like a lot of the stuff in the sister location bunker is automated. Like, all these workers have to do is like load powered down animatronics up onto these things, but Mike has to be down there for like kind of a prolonged period of time and get very close to baby and the other animatronics, and so he needs somebody who's not gonna rat him out to the police if they figure out the truth.
Yeah, I just wrote that down. That's like incredible. he needs the zappies to control the fun times. Why is that? In the Silver Eyes, in the Silver Eyes in the movie, they're just like, that's our funny, that's our little rabbit friend. We love our rabbit friend.
Those possessions, the nature of them is a lot different. The other possessions are like the other possessions are like natural. He's mixing it down artificially. So it probably gets out of control. So,
in the Silver Eyes, it's the same thing. The fun times and the original. It's a, I don't know if you read The Fourth Closet. It's a weird thing, especially if you look at the graphic novel. So once he convinces the kids that the rabbit's bad, all of the animatronics turn against him, right? Including the Biddy Babs and the Mangles? Question mark.
I don't remember.
I don't remember, dude. It's been like 2 years. I don't revisit The Fourth Closet that much.
Also, spitballing refers to an illegal move in baseball where the ball can go around wildly because you spit on it, and so that's why it means to just throw stuff out at random.
Is that how physics work?
That's crazy. I totally thought it was going to be about like when somebody's in the front row and somebody's like speaking really passionately and you kind of like spit on them. Gross.
All right, time to destroy the timeline. Here we go.
Okay.
The more likely option, I think, is Michael is just a test dummy. That would make a lot of sense. However,
like literally, like he's not real.
No, like
dummy.
No, like
stop. It's because dummy. No, I'm sorry. There's textual evidence. Baby's
That's
calling him a
FNaF theory.
dummy.
That's a John FNaF theory. Cease. No, like William's just sending Michael down there to test the waters, essentially, like see how badly cooked he'd get. What if, now this should be impossible. What if William is already trapped in the back room? And that's why Michael has to do it. Because William can't. He's literally locked up somewhere. And so he's been left special instructions in the event that he doesn't come back.
So that,
Now the
Is it a
problem,
cancel tape?
I know what you're gonna say. But molten MCI, and to that I say, correct. That would be a massive plot hole.
Wait, is it a get canceled on Twitter take to say sister location comes before FNaF 2?
I feel like nobody knows when it happens.
When I say I'm going to get canceled, I'm referring to one specific theory I intend to bring up at some point.
Yeah, rest in peace.
I already talked to T-Dreads about because, but no, I mean, I think that sister locations before FNaF 2, I know that ID's Fantasy thinks that, and she's fairly popular and not canceled. So I think that's a safe thing to say.
Okay, I'm also there right now.
And also, I'm going to come find you implies that William is, not where he usually is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would literally say, like, Scott, knowing Scott, he could have been like, and he was behind the safe room this entire game. But then you're like, but Scott, how did the remnant get in the fun times? And Scott's like,
I mean, what if William's just on the run already, and that's why
that's an idea too, because he has
location.
aliases. Yeah, he has aliases in the games too.
But like back with the question of like why Mike and William, like Mike seems to be obeying William and yet doesn't seem to have direct contact with him. He's already on the run.
And I brought that up in one of my videos. That was like, essentially, William's like, dude, they're on to me. Go free your sister, by the way. I'm going to go like break into FNaF 2 and do the DCI or something now, if that even happened. I'm going to go make a metaphorical representation of the MCI now through 8-bit form.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I think that the 2 weeks that FNaF 2 is open overlap with sister location. Like I think that the week that Mike's walking around with Ennard in him is probably the week that William was the nighttime guard, and so that's when the DCI happened.
They saw, I'm going to come find you, and boom, night 7, Fritz Smith strolls in.
Exactly. Literally that.
Here, game theory, ready? The reason that he uses the name Fritz Smith is because all the MCI kids entered inside of him and he knows their names, so he's using them as epic aliases.
Do you guys think that Jeremy, the FNaF 2 guard, might be the father of Jeremy, the victim?
I like it.
I like that theory the first time I heard that.
Do you think he's Cassie's dad?
No.
A lot of people
Jeremy.
do. A lot of people do.
Literally 40 years later.
Well,
Okay.
this is back like 2 sentences. My brain is so fast and so smart. No. Mike standing up in the cutscene with the "you won't die, you won't die, you won't die." Do we think he's actually healing that fast? Like, or do we think that's just a representation of the fact that he heals? Because I kind of wondered if maybe he's scooped, he's entered
inside of,
and but then he's got like a while before he's maybe walking or talking or doing anything again.
But
Maybe.
Matt Pat said he got fired because he smelled bad.
Oh my gosh. Someone told me that like Fritz can't be Mike because the only reason people think that is because Mike is a rotting zombie. And I'm like, that's not how people came to that conclusion. But yeah, I think that the same thing, I think Rytos may have brought this up, or it might have been John. One of them said that like the Baby and Elizabeth minigame where she's jumping around outside in a Mario level and then she snatches Elizabeth, like that's clearly not an actual representation of where that took place. And so likewise, it's very likely that whatever happened with Mike didn't actually take place walking down a suburban street. Also, so page 340 of the fourth closet, Funtime Freddy and Funtime Foxy are attacking William once the children turn against him, so they do have control over the Funtimes.
Interesting.
Once the animatronics turn against him, it's all of the animatronics.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, like in sister location, they want at you from the get-go, though. Like they don't even seem to be under the ruse that like, we love the night guards, we love the night guards.
Well,
okay.
yeah, but you're not actually Afton,
Well,
and
yeah.
it doesn't seem like
And I
it
think
doesn't seem like
it's only the yellow rabbit too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they, Mike says that they didn't recognize him at first, right? So that does, and also like the last guy hid under the desk, and then someone died in an event once. Like it seems like they're just dangerous to be around in general.
Except when you realize that
they kill the two other guys, and then they hang them on the stages, which is dark.
Dark.
Okay, so anyway, Michael escapes from sister location after he puts circus baby back together somehow. Don't know exactly what he did. He didn't really do anything, but apparently Elizabeth gets put back together because he takes the chip out or something. I don't fucking know.
That's my theory. I think that the when you're in an animatronic suit, you're still governed by the AI of the suit, right? That's why Afton as Springtrap still has to follow the noise lures, because that's what the suit's programmed to do. So I think Baby, or Elizabeth and Baby or whatever, it's like, oh, Baby has an AI. She has a personality. And so Elizabeth can't like shine through because of Baby. But then I think a combination of like, you take out the little green chip, or her endoskeleton's removed from the suit to go be a part of Ennard. Like, I think those things, because she's already Ennard by the time you take the chip out. So I think it may have happened regardless.
Yeah.
But I think her being removed from the suit kind of gives her personality back.
And so having all of your mind in order is being put back together.
Yes. Now, obviously, she's not like, she doesn't become like she's not back to life. She's not like a 5-year-old girl, right? Because Henry's like, Elizabeth, if you even remember that name. But I think it just gives them a greater control, right? Like in that game, she's like, I want to make you proud, Daddy.
Free will, yeah.
So obviously she doesn't hate him anymore.
It's so weird though, because in the office section, when she's got all the voice lines where she can use Elizabeth's voice, we need you so that we can leave, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the mimic.
But then,
No, oh my god.
Mimicking feature. The mimicking feature, I should say.
Yes.
Unless you're John, then it is the mimic. But
we love John.
I love you, John. just want to say that.
but then if he takes out the baby AI, and so that it can be Elizabeth more wholly, it's just strange that from like that point on, she never uses Elizabeth's voice again. It's always the baby voice actress. Am I wrong about that? Do you ever hear Elizabeth's voice again?
No, you don't. But
only in Ennard Night, yeah.
I think she means in FNaF 6, like when Elizabeth is Elizabeth.
Yeah, 6 or UCN or anything like that, is after the chip is out, it's always
Baby. Yeah.
Because I never think it was something. It was never Elizabeth consciously doing it. I think Elizabeth is just talking in the voice that the suit talks with.
Okay, that makes sense. And like the when Baby uses Elizabeth's voice, it really is just mimicking her voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I always interpreted it. She's like, it's not gonna hurt. Like, we need you. And then Baby's like, didn't you come down here just for her? Also, they think that he's William at that point, so they're using the voice of his daughter.
I know it was an accident.
Yeah. What does that refer to? What does that refer to?
The baby killing her.
Okay, I was gonna say, but then again, that's like because they're saying that because they think William will be sad because he's responsible.
Yeah. Also, I didn't find this out. Someone, I totally forget their name, but they made a video called like yapping about all of Baby's voice lines or something.
Yeah, Bonk Boy. I've seen all his stuff.
Yes.
He makes great stuff.
Oh, freaking good.
Yeah, his videos are amazing. And he brought up that, because I just didn't know this, that the Elizabeth voice actor is an adult woman. It's not actually a child.
Yeah, that's
so like they could
talented.
They could bring her back if Scott needed more voice lines from her. Like it wasn't like, oh, we can't use them anymore because they don't sound like they're a 4-year-old anymore.
You hit puberty and now she sounds like, oh, I'm Elizabeth.
So definitely a creative choice, not limited by limitations.
All right, so then Michael... Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, you know what? I was about to change the subject. Go back on Michael.
Okay, yeah, so Michael, then after that, he goes to basically beat the shit out of his father. What spurs that change? Because it seems like in sister location he's helping him, but it's just that after he I'm guessing William wasn't like, hey, I'm on a level with you. I killed like 14 kids. And So I'm guessing after he finds out all the shitty stuff William did, he's like, okay, well, I gotta set this dude on fire now.
I think the motivation comes from baby, all of her allusions to like the I don't think he thinks the fun times are, he knows the fun times are child killers at this point. All of her allusions to the fact that she is killing unwillingly ? And then I think that the blueprints that you can get in the menu are actual things that Mike saw.
Probably that would make the most sense.
That is actually a really good point.
Also, somehow
I also think
Henry has the scooper, which sent Cyanide into a fucking spiral. But we'll get to that later.
William's behind a wall for 30 years. There's nothing that stops Henry from like, I'm going to go down to the sister location bunker and just like poke around.
Yeah,
like it's like how else did they independently like discover Remnant? But like nobody else. I keep saying this. The U.S. military doesn't know about Remnant. You being serious right now?
Did you read the leaked script? For FNaF 2.
For FNaF 2, the totally canon one, yeah.
Dude, if it is canon, I will cry.
But yeah, I do think that like Mike saw like, oh, these animatronics are haunted by like children, and we're shocking them to force compliance, and probably my dad. Maybe he lied, you know? It was just like, oh, a little accident that your sister died. That's one thing. But I am harvesting children. Very different.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily, he probably knows about like the MCI and stuff like that, but I think his like first understanding is the fun times and what they're doing, and probably puts things together about the MCI later.
Do you think that he knew William was the MCI?
No, like I think he like heard of the murders beforehand, and now like every murder that's ever happened in town to a child that has been semi-Freddy's related, like it's all clicking now that he sees the fun times and what they're doing.
I think Scott.
I think it's the same thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's the same thing with Henry, where he kind of was like avoiding everything. And then when Phone Guy calls him, when Ralph calls him at the end of FNaF 2, he's like, oh no, it was William. This is my problem.
Yeah, I think Scott likes to reuse the same character dynamics constantly. So I think the situation between Michael and William is very similar to the situation between Vanessa and William in the movie. The way that she obeys him, but is kind of like, this guy's kind of mid. You know, she's not
and then
like...
William stabs her.
Yeah, and just like Michael got stabbed by the scooper. Whoa.
But Vanessa does know for quite a while, it seems like, about the children and their bodies inside the suits, and it isn't until she meets Mike and has an affinity for him and his younger sister that she gains the courage to do anything about it. Whereas I'm not entirely sold on Mike knowing about the murders beforehand.
I feel like if he does,
like Mike help or something,
Mike accomplice,
Mike evil, Mike accomplice. Hate that theory.
I believe it, but only for one game under false pretenses. So I think he is tricked essentially into helping his father.
In which game?
Yeah, Sister Location. I think William does not give him the full picture.
Oh, 100%.
After Sister Location, he's like, all right, fuck this dude. Which they essentially tell you in the actual like text of the game.
Yes. Well, the problem, quote unquote problem, is that like I put Sister Location first, and so anyone who puts Sister Location later
after the other games,
yeah. Well, if Mike did FNaF 1 and 2 first before Sister Location, he must have been evil in those games.
But he was tampering with the animatronics.
Gosh darn it. I think actually that Vanessa in the movies lines up like a mix for me between Mike and Elizabeth. Because, I mean, Mike qualities are kind of obvious.
Makes
but
sense.
It seems to me with Elizabeth's or Baby's speech, it's weird. Why do we call, like, most of the other spirits by the spirit's name? But whenever I'm trying to say Elizabeth, I always end up saying Baby. Like, I don't do that with Cassidy.
Easier. It's not as many syllables.
I guess so. But, like, with Baby's speech before, connection terminated, she has this like idea. She at this point clearly knows that William is doing something with these souls, and has this like vision that it's something grand, that they're serving some grand purpose. They are gonna do what they're meant to do, kind of. I don't know. It's like that Baby, I think, is the one who's more like Vanessa. Obviously, Vanessa in the movie doesn't think there's some grand purpose. She's more afraid. But Elizabeth is the one who's like more delusional, even though she sees the murders for what they are.
Yeah, I think she just likes her dad so much that she's like, I want to be useful and things.
Well, okay, so let's try to answer some questions. We're talking about Vanessa in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Canonically, do we know how old she is?
Probably around the
Great
same age as Mike.
question.
So late 20s, maybe? Question mark?
Probably late 20s.
Because, like, I think if you're... Who knows what her past was, right? Like, we have one picture of her as a kid holding Garrett's plane.
Mm-hmm.
So she must only be a little older than Garrett, so she must be like Mike's age.
Yeah.
Vanessa Shelley? What?
We can assume whatever her past is, that it's a little bit fucked up.
I think that was her
26?
26. Okay.
Well, this is just from the FNaF wiki, which, as we all know,
Most
is
credible.
infallible.
The best. Literally, I was going there when I was making my like 9-hour video, and they were just getting quotes from FNaF 4 wrong.
They get some of the phone guy quotes wrong
Yeah.
from the original games. Well, they're all,
like-
yeah, whatever.
I have to double check these anyway. So if she's like 26, do we assume that like did she go to high school until she was 17, or was William like, no, you will study mathematics in my basement? Like how
You need to
sheltered?
become a police officer.
Well, is she a real police officer? She has a police car, right? But like, what did she do? You know?
Doesn't she
Yeah,
get
we'll
into
have to-
like
we'll
the
have to wait-
full armory
We'll have
and
to
give
wait
Mike a
for
taser?
more. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, she totally does. Okay, so she's a real cop.
No,
Okay,
the
that's-
Williams remnant taser.
But then again, William might literally own the town. Like a classic
He's
capitalist
in the
bad
mafia.
guy. And it could totally just pull strings, I think. Like, well, I don't know if that's true, but it does seem like Fazbear kind of, well, I'm thinking more of the pizza place at
Me
this
and-
point.
me
But
and
Fazbear
Cry
does
and
kind
I-
of like own southern Utah.
Me and Cryo have a bet that when Vanessa like wakes up in the next movie, she's gonna be Vanny.
Oh my god. Better than her being a robot. When I was watching the movie for the first time, I'm like, I swear, if they like pull the knife out or something and they're like, she's a robot, I'm done.
I didn't kidnap your brother, Mike. I kidnapped you.
This has been the Silver Eyes the entire time.
William turns towards the screen. This isn't the movie. This is the Silver Eyes, and everyone just dissolves into Silver Eyes characters. Turns into Twink Dave Miller in Pinky Pill style. Okay, what else? Okay, so
what's Vanessa's like last name in the movie before you get the reveal? Like, does she have a
Shelley.
fake name?
Shelley, yeah.
So if William Afton becomes Steve Raglan and she becomes Vanessa Shelley, then I don't know if he could use his, if he had any, I don't know if he could use his influence to make her just become a cop.
Yeah.
Hold on, how much schooling do you need to become a police officer? A
Oh my
two-year
god,
college
too much
degree.
lore.
Yep.
At Fazbear University, where he was the dean. He
Wait, do
passed.
we think it's different when she would have become a cop? Have the regulations changed in life?
The movie was like 2004 or something like that.
I think around
when
there.
it takes place.
Oh, no, it probably hasn't changed.
Which now has people saying that FNaF 1 took place then, which is insane.
Oh my god. Don't get me started. Well, the Silver Eyes takes place in, what is it, like 95?
Well, yeah, and it's already closed by then.
Yeah, because it's 10 years after the MCI.
Yeah.
It's the 10-year anniversary. Ooh, spooky. Yeah, so if the Silver Eyes can be 85 and the movie can be 2000 question mark, I don't think that has a bearing on the games. Although, what somebody in the Discord said the other day about like the song lyrics that are quoted in the week before being from the late 90s, that might change my opinion on when FNaF 1 takes place, because that's kind of a big one.
All right. So we did Elizabeth, Michael, and Mrs. Afton. All right, Gibi.
Wait, I have one more Michael question, actually.
Okay. After that, we'll
I've
cancel.
made-
We'll cancel Gibi live after that. But go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. My question with Michael is, do we think that he is doing everything that he's doing because he like has a desire to stop William, or is he doing it because he's trying to like make up for his sins of his past?
Yeah,
Or both.
I don't see why it can't be a little both. Yeah.
Okay.
My personal interpretation, and I guess I just like the story better this way, is if Mike at the beginning is just kind of trying to make up for what he did, and Henry is like no, we need to stop all of William. Like, we can't just let the crying child spirit go. We need to do some grand gesture that sets free all of the spirits because, you know, I let this happen and it bleed out and caused all this. So I think Mike, in the beginning, at least up until, like, Pizza Sim, or I mean, by Pizza Sim, he's not like this, but earlier, I think he may have just really cared about his brother.
I mean, I guess then you got to ask if the fire at Fazbear Frice was intentional or not.
I think it was.
Well, because then
faulty wiring, bro.
I've heard that before. Like people believe that they're like, Michael did not set it on fire because it was Hudson.
I can't handle the voicemail.
Sorry, I love doing that like video essay accent.
Oh, what a banger.
Yeah, if you ever
Springtrap set the fire.
Yeah.
He tripped over a loose wire. Yeah.
If you ever watch like
actually
fucking 8-bit gaming back in like 2014, they did all these like 4-minute breakdowns of like everything in the trailers. And they did that. Yeah, it was funny. It was just like, if you look at the bottom right hand corner, you'll see Sparky the dog.
It was like not allowed on the internet in 2014. I was still playing a Game Boy.
Yeah, those Game Boys were fire though. Pokemon Emerald, dude. Pokemon Emerald.
No, I wasn't allowed to play Pokemon.
No, it was sacrilegious.
Yeah, they're demons apparently.
Yeah.
Sad.
All right, can we talk about William Afton now?
If you want, no, just kidding.
All right, I will begin preparing the candles for Gibby's execution ceremony. I'll begin preparing
the suspense is killing me. I gotta know.
All right, ruin your reputation. Ruin your reputation.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, listen. Not only do I believe this, but I think that it's silly to the way that people respond. So, in general, in like just the widest scope that you could have, the will care theory is simply that William was not a murderous psychopath before the first of his children died, and that when you can believe that Elizabeth died first, whatever, but like when Dave died, it made him go from like maybe a jerk guy who like cuts people off in traffic and, you know, yells at waiters. You know, he goes from that to a serial killer because he went crazy when his son died. That's all that will care is, in my opinion. It's just that he wasn't a murderer and then he was because his child died. Some people, if you say, I believe in will care, or I think that William wasn't evil before his son died, or like, so you're saying that abuse is fine, you're justifying, you know, you're making light of all this stuff. Rightos talked about this in the one live stream that we all did. Yeah. But like, I swear, I got a DM on Twitter after I released my 9-hour video, and he's like, can you, this is some random person, was like, can you explain why you're making excuses for like a literal abuser? I'm just like, I think that it's a better story if William is a guy, and then he has like a one bad day Joker moment, and then he snaps and becomes a serial killer. So yeah, my cancelable theory is that I technically believe in will care.
No, I trusted you. Yeah, I think Charlie died first, so I can't really ascribe to that.
Oh,
but
fine.
It's always between the two. It's either everyone says like bite victim or Charlie. The Susie first believers kind of fizzled out in the wind. Because all that has.
Well, now there's the Charlie last believers because of Help Wanted too. And then there's also the Elizabeth first believers,
which is insane. Sorry.
Oh, Help Wanted 2. What do we do with you?
Yeah, that game is quite odd.
I go actually very back and forth on, did a child's death make William snap, or was he always kind of snapped? Because like the good compelling stories in general out there usually have a snap moment for the villain, because even though it happens in real life, like we always prefer a villain who we can relate to a little bit. Yeah. Not that anyone wants to relate to William Afton, but like the idea that there was a villain who had a value and then something happened, dog got shot, whatever. John Wick isn't the villain of that movie, is he? I haven't seen the John Wick movies. No. That something like we all, like every audience basically likes or finds a villain more compelling when that's the case. Even though I don't know that it's always necessarily the case in real life.
Have either of you seen Death Note?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. For Gibi, I'll just go. The only version of Will Care I could possibly ascribe to is a very similar character arc to Light Yagami, where he starts out like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing the right thing, what I'm doing is good, and then he just goes fucking ape shit, and he loses everything. Like he just loses his mind in the process. That is the only version.
Even in the beginning, Light absolutely cared about his father and his sister and his mother, and like that's kind of my thing. It's like even in real life, like there are serial killers who just like have a family and are just like suburban dads, and then you find out that they like, you know, skin people's faces off. And like I'm sure that they care about their own children. They're just evil.
Well, I guess what I would mean more of is like it would be like, yeah, I'm doing this to bring my kids back. This is a good cause. Holy shit, Remnant. And then he starts huffing Remnant. He's like, this is fucking sweet. And then he just goes absolutely wild and he loses his entire mind. And he's just insane. Because I've been wanting to mention this for a while. Every interpretation of William besides the games, he's just a fucking lunatic.
Yes.
Like in the Silver Eyes, he's absolutely tweaking. And in the movie, he like he acts like my dad when he has road rage. Look at you, look at the things you are.
You guys know look how jolly you are?
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Mike.
I cherish you.
Yeah, which is why like in the games, it's so strange to me that Scott's direction for William was, well, hello, I'm so cool and conniving. I'm a genius. But then in every other interpretation of William, he's just, whoa. Do you have any idea, do you think that suggests that their characters are supposed to be different, or is it just a facade? Like it's cool British Mr. Afton. Is that just like, I'm pretending to not be a huge pussy?
Well, so, and again, this was more, I think PJ Hayward say this and wasn't Scott, but he's like, I modeled his voice after Hannibal Lecter. And Hannibal Lecter is obviously like super big, bad, evil psycho man.
Well, Scott gave him direction. Scott gave him very specific direction for Afton, so.
Yeah, so he's also a polite British man. He's just also a serial killer.
Which is odd, because in both of the other continuities, he doesn't seem very charismatic.
In the fourth closet, when he's like wearing his little purple robe and like posing, I kind of see him as more like a Sideshow Bob type, character. Like, I am distinguished, but I'm also going to kill you.
Well, I was more so talking about like when he's Dave, the security guard. He's kind of just an asshole. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, Dave Miller's jerk.
Okay, I think that movie Afton has charisma, but I'm not sure if that's just Matthew Lillard bleeding through, because
like
he's a great actor.
As Steve Raglan.
Yes, yeah, like Steve Raglan, I thought like was a
he is a performer. So and I mean William Afton is a character. William Afton would get on stage and his little, so he does act. So it could obviously also that whole thing I'm doing where it's like, oh, he acted this way as Steve Raglan. Obviously that's just him putting on like I'm a career counselor, guys. Woohoo! But where in reality he's nuts. So it could be the same thing with like the snake oil salesman, where that part of him is also just an act.
I definitely view, I think, William as the character who starts out very calm and put together and descends into madness. And I think I also view him pre the intense spiral as being very two-faced. Like I think that his what made him succeed as a businessman was probably his charisma. Because he's not the robotics genius of the two, even though he made the fun times and they're objectively incredible.
Yeah, that was after. That was during his Remnant spiral, though, where he was like, Remnant man.
Gotta huff that Remnant.
This shit's good.
Yeah, I think this information, I could just be totally misremembering this, but taking like high school and college psychology classes, it's like, 5% of the population are like, diagnosed psychopaths, but 0.1% of those people end up being murderers. And it's just like, yeah, the rest just become car salesmen and they cheat you out of some money, or they become actors and like they pretend to be good people, but they're really like behind the scenes. You know, they're like they're throwing titty parties. Like these are just.
I had to do sales for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Shit was ass.
Yeah, and it's like I think William was just. Because what kind of person is like, my calling in life is to put on a silly rabbit costume to entertain children? And then it's like, you know, he turns like 40 and he's getting a little old. His hairs are turning gray. He looks at his annoying kids and he's just like, I need to kill something.
Is a person with psychopathy? Oh, is that how you say somebody who is a psychopath? So is somebody with psychopathy?
I mean, technically, it's not a condition. It's just it's a mishmash of conditions make psychopathy. It's an umbrella term. But
does like doing things that are considered morally wrong by the majority of society like a necessary symptom, or are they just a common symptom? Like, would you ever have somebody who's a psychopath who just always chooses to be more normal and do good things? I don't know this much about psychology.
I think my recollection from being in high school 10 years ago is that like there's a checklist and there's 20 things, and to be diagnosed you need to have like 15 of the 20 things or something like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, again, it's like
of traits.
Yeah, there's liars and cheaters and stealers and like people like that. Like, oh, they'll become politicians or they'll become police officers because they want to be in power. But that doesn't mean that they're serial killers who eat people's faces.
Mm.
Anyway, I cannot possibly ascribe to Will Care because he'd have to be such an immense idiot. I don't even think Scott could write him that dumb. Scott writes people dumb, but he'd have to make William super extra mega dumb. Like, oh,
For
yes,
what, to care about his kids.
No,
to get Elizabeth
like,
killed.
I work at this restaurant. I literally work here. Oh, my son's dying. A real bummer that is. Now listen, Elizabeth, don't go near the robot. I'm going to turn the other way now. I care so much. Listen, I really do. I really care. But I kind of want like a Dr. Pepper, so I'm going to go to the soda fountain. I'll be right back.
Do you think that Will was in the Springlock suit from Night 4 of Sister Location, not using it the way it was meant to be used, and that's why he was distracted when Baby got Elizabeth?
You think William was dancing around in a Springlock suit that of like Funtime Mimic or something, whatever the fuck that is?
Yeah, Funtime Spring Bonnie, you know.
I mean,
who knows?
I mean, technically that would be the way it was meant to be used then, because he'd be performing. I always assumed like they tried to kill somebody in it. That's not what I always assumed
like,
that line meant.
Do you have any good theories about the Night 4 Springlock suit? Because I got nothing.
Well, we know.
I'm totally with Unwithered Truth.
What did he
What's
say
his
it
theory?
is?
The Springlock suit from FNaF 3 phone calls, like another suit that was made for another location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody put it on
Absolutely.
either probably in training beforehand, got Springlocked, it got retired before it could ever be used.
But it has the Funtime faceplates.
Yeah, because it was made for Circus Baby's Entertainment Rental.
The sister location they're
okay.
referring to, Scott conned it into being the sister location suit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then wouldn't tell anybody on Ducko's interview. Because people were saying it was fucking pig patch.
Yeah, that's the theory that someone just left that in my comments. I read that for my last video on Wednesday.
Wait, I do not know that one. What?
So I don't know what like the real theory is, but the one that this person left is like, I think that all of the mediocre melodies like have different versions. They're like Happy Frog and Montgomery Gator are the same character, the way that like Foxy and Roxanne are the same character or something. And so they're like, there's a female pig character in the books who is a Springlock suit and a Funtime.
Rosie Porkchop. You'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, Rosie Porkchop, who like snatches kids but also is a Springlock. And so they're like, and so that's who's in Sister Location. And I'm like, that's a great combination of evidence. Like, I really like putting that all together. In my mind, is just like, if that's the answer, if Scott expected us to do that, then he's crazy.
Oh well, then you have to. You can use that same thing for. You can use that same thing for Andrew logic. You idiots! It was a character that wasn't revealed 6 years later the entire time.
I have it on good authority that Andrew is the vengeful spirit.
That's true. I think somebody made a song about that.
I think someone might be making a song about that.
Fuck Cassidy. That video better get like at least like 100K views. I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm telling you, Secret of the Mimic, 1 million views.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, anyway, you if you have will care, he must also be so immensely stupid that
Well, so Elizabeth dying would be after Cece died. So I think that at that point, he's got one track mind. He's like, I must harvest the remnant to save my boy. I told my boy I would put him back together. Elizabeth, don't go over there. Be a good little child. Don't be stupid. Don't go in there.
what the fuck is he focusing on?
Got to him.
What is he focusing on? Daddy's not watching. What is more important at that moment?
Karen needed more pepperonis for her pizza, and her child was screaming in the party room, and he had to go and handle that. You know, maybe the cooks were out of garbage bags. They weren't prepared for opening night to be this busy. He's running around. He's the manager of circus babies. Yeah, okay, it's not his fault.
So by that logic, here, so this is what here's what he would actually do if he cared about his children. He'd be like, oh man, I built these fucking huge murder clowns. I'm the CEO of a multi-millionaire company. Maybe I will hire a babysitter.
I ain't gonna hire Mike because Mike's gonna feed her to a yellow bear.
True. It's just
he probably would not trust Mike actually.
All I'm saying is if you go by will care, he also has to be so immensely dumb where his negligence might as well be a crime in and of itself.
His negligence is a crime in and of itself. Yeah. I am down for William's breaking point being the death of one of his children, but I am also totally convinced that he was an abusive parent beforehand.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like dual process theory and probably like every other theorist has said this many times as well, that like just because he's an abusive parent doesn't mean that he thinks he loves his children. Just because you like, because he's already
abusers say they love their kids all the time.
Yeah, he's kind of messed up. He gets more messed up after his kids die, especially because now he feels like justified for a lot of his like horrible tendencies, I think. But that it's also perfectly reasonable for him to say that like the death of his children affected him emotionally because they were prized possessions in his eyes, or he loved them in some sick, messed up way.
Yep.
It's actually, I think harder
that's the only version I agree with. It's like a narcissistic kind of attachment, not actual love, obviously, but it's just like my kids, my creations, that kind of thing.
But I think it's almost harder to say that William felt absolutely nothing for his kids and didn't care about their deaths, because that's like, and I think we've all met so many bad parents in our lives, but like that's not true of any horrible abusive parent that I've ever met, and I've met plenty.
He cared enough to spy on him through a doll.
Yeah, and he cared enough to tell him to put him back together. He cared enough to tell Elizabeth not to go near baby. Like he totally like spanked his kids, maybe locked him in the doghouse without dinner one night. You know, but that doesn't mean that he's. I guess it does kind of mean he's evil, but I think he still didn't want them to die. Is my point.
Yeah.
I think he would rather other people died than them.
Yes. Yes, it's like the evil selfish attachment. But let me just veer into my ubiquitous Star Wars comparisons. It's like, did Anakin really love Padme? Is he really capable of love? I don't know, but he was certainly willing to kill a lot of people to protect her.
No, that's actually a good analogy. I also, we've been joking about it, but like do genuinely believe Will's stupid. Like, I think he puts on, obviously, a facade of being very cool and collected, and there are times where it works really well in his favor, for a while, because he's not like an actual idiot, but like he makes stupid and irrational choices, I think, many times. Obviously, killing is a stupid and irrational choice if you think about it from a moral standpoint. Yeah. But like, I think what really is in his favor and what he thinks is like his charisma and his genius is a lot of times just the fact that he's like a person of power in the room and people listen to him. Like, if any of us were listening to him talk about the baby animatronic, we'd be like, what the heck is this guy on about? But he's like the head of the company. Like, what's the board gonna say against him? That sort of thing. And so, like, I definitely am on board for, like, he really actually thought that his kids weren't going to get caught in the crossfire of his murderous activities, even though he's letting them run around with the other kids at this same restaurant. Like, that sort of, like, just like the stupid, blind, nothing can go wrong in my life.
Hubris.
Yeah, I guess Bonk Boy says in that video you mentioned earlier, Gibi, he talks about how Elizabeth talks very like upper class, very refined for a child of her age. So it is also possible that William just truly expected her to listen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in FNaF 6, he has that line. He's like, "Oh, what a deceptive calling!" But I knew it was a lie the moment I heard it. Obviously, and it's like, "Oh, but you still came and got trapped, idiot."
Well,
like,
actually, I have a new interpretation of that now. I'm pretty sure if you look at the other voice lines in that game, Henry literally posed as William, sending that message. Like the calling in quotes. What? Yeah. Baby's line.
Baby?
Yep. Yeah. Baby's lines like,
Yeah.
you don't really know who your employer is. So the reason William says, I knew it was a lie, obviously, is because it's him. He'd be, hello, William. It's me, you. Come to the FNaF 6 pizzeria.
I think he had a little personalized message for
every
each of them. Because, like,
William
obviously.
Is personalized.
Well, because obviously the puppet.
Every copy of William's.
Yeah, that killed Gibi.
Oh my god.
Every copy of William Afton is personalized. I'm glad you got that reference.
Obviously the puppet got their own thing. They're lured with the music box. Elizabeth is lured with the promise that it's going to be William there in some way. And then presumably, although this would go against everyone's absolute favorite theory that William is no longer controlled by sound cues, but I think like the remote activated child something is supposed to be for William and probably also for that Molten Freddy to lure them with the sound of a child into the restaurant.
So Molten Freddy, we think, is just entirely the robotic, that it's just AI that controls that thing, right?
Either AI or because he has the remnant from all of the MCI kids, it's sort of like no one's in control.
It's just aggressive.
Yeah, so it's like just his instinct. Because like it's Molten Freddy and Ennard are the same thing, except for Ennard had baby.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, it's just like it can plot, it can think, it can plan. But like Ballora was kind of scared of Mike, and then Funtime Foxy is like very egotistical, and then like Funtime Freddy is sadistic, and then Bonbon is whatever Bonbon is. But like I think that their personalities are based on their AI. Yeah,
Funtime Freddy definitely is sadistic. That story was off the wall.
It was a banger. I think that Molten Freddy is like the classic confused, angry, lashing out. Like it's all the children. Mm-hmm. They like probably at this point recognize Afton as their killer, but they're also assuming a Molten MCI, I should say, that like all their remnant is mixed together. It's all a huge mess. They're all bound by supernatural rules that they don't understand. They don't understand why they can't go home. Angry, violent, and able to plot.
I don't think anyone in there except for Michael and Henry knows Scraptrap is William. I don't think Baby knows that the giant rabbit thing is William.
She says it's like a family reunion or something, right?
It feels like home.
Her lines?
Feels like home. Well, she's got a couple lines.
Well, then that's a massive Scott fumble to not have them have one dialogue exchange. But then again, he does that. So
I don't think William would care.
Wait, but I don't think William wouldn't care.
Oh my gosh!
What's
oh my gosh!
This, Gibson?
I think if Scraptrap saw Scrap Baby, and she was like, "I want to make you proud, Daddy," he'd be like, "Go away! You're annoying and weird. I don't like you."
Wow.
But 1983 William, I think that he cared about the safety of his children.
Okay, so he's already become a goober.
He's the monster.
Yeah.
A goober. Well, yeah, he's a little peanut head.
I'm friends with the monster. He looks like Jimmy Neutron.
Oh yeah, she doesn't say anything that would confirm that she knows she knows that Afton is Scraptrap. She says it feels like home. Mm-hmm. You're not who I expected to see. I heard your call. You don't know who your employer is, do you? It feels like my birthday.
Well, literally, Bonk Boy in the same fucking video says that it feels like home because it's just her and Michael, and William was never there. So.
One thing that I potentially have an issue with, if Elizabeth has had no contact with Afton from the time that she gets de-baby AI'd and de-Ennarded, is that like she seems to have undergone a personality change off camera, which obviously we all commented on, and it was very close to people's hearts because books giving us lore is bad or something like that. But like she's as a child, she's like submissive to Afton, but she's not like scheming with Afton. And then obviously as baby, not really a fan. And then gets debabied, and now all of a sudden she like I said, like she seems to have some idea that like all the souls are there for a grand purpose for Afton.
Yeah.
We can create we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I'll make you proud, watch, listen, and be full. Like she thinks Afton is gonna do something really cool here with the souls, probably immortality or something like that. But I'm just like confused about where she gets this idea that like William is like brilliant, is going to be orchestrating something really cool. Like she literally sounds like she's talking about a cult leader.
Probably
which she kind of is.
the fake message, probably.
But do you think you could do all that? Just like a fake message?
Henry used 11 Labs AI to sound like William, and he was like, "Hello, my daughter. Kill all these people, please." All right, now it's time for Bite Victim. Is he an Afton? Or did William drive out to somebody's house and then kidnap an American child and drive all the way back to Utah and then say, "This is your brother now, Michael." And the reason Michael doesn't like him is because he's fucking adopted.
I will say in UCN, the voice that people assume to be the crying child, because he speaks with the fredbear, he's like, "We know who our friends are. You are not one of them."
Not one of them.
Does not sound very British to me.
Yeah.
But I do think he's probably William's actual child.
By the same logic, though, like Withered Chica or whatever talks like Chica does, not like Susie. So.
Well, yeah, but the
That's
Fredbear
supposed to
has
be
like
his
a voice that's kind of like sounds underneath it. Like there's like a whispering kind of voice.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the same way that the vengeful spirit has the voice underneath.
And then,
CC has a voice underneath.
then you have to get into the people that are saying the reason that Nightmare Fredbear sounds like that is because it's actually Cassidy and Andrew is the vengeful spirit. So you get a lot of people. It's either people think that Andrew's the vengeful spirit and Cassidy is Nightmare Fredbear, or Cassidy's the vengeful spirit and the bite victim is Nightmare Fredbear. Which, given the actual text of the lines, it makes more sense for bite victim to be talking through Nightmare Fredbear because he literally heard those.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's repeating the lines. We know who our friends are. You're not one of them. It's just the FNaF 4 lines.
Okay. So the bite victim. Why do we think he cries all the time? It's just he's just a pussy. Sorry, I should say, having an incredibly abusive father doesn't make you a pussy. I should rephrase. He has a very terrible home life.
How old do we think he is? We all said that we think Mike's like 14. How old do we think that Dave is?
How old is Ike in VIP?
Oh, like 8? I can pull it up.
Okay, I would say the same age.
Same age as Ike. Okay, I think that. So I always saw Dave as being like he's turning 10, but he could be younger. Let me pull up.
I would say he's the same age as I think, and I'm sorry to use this word. I know it's gonna trigger a little bit of Twitter, but I think they are parallels. I think even if they're in the same universe, I think that Ike and Devin are meant to parallel Mike and Dave.
Because the names are similar?
No, because of the dynamic between the characters.
Good. Okay. Because back when people thought that Dave's name was Evan, they're like, Evan sounds like Devin, and then Ike sounds like Mike. So those are brothers.
Reverse.
I'm like, well, I don't know about that.
I think because if you literally look at the character dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so I think that the character dynamic between I already forget the character's name in the Lonely Freddy.
Alec
kid.
And some
Alec
girl.
And
someone.
I literally just covered that story, but yeah.
Girl. Alec and girl.
Hazel?
Yeah.
Hazel, yes.
Hazel. That's it.
Like that story is like, that could be a parallel if you interpret it that way. Like any story where there's going to be an older sibling and a younger sibling, and the younger sibling is just so annoying. Like that's just going to be most stories.
Yeah, I still disagree. I think it's intentionally meant to be like, and especially like he has to drag this kid everywhere with him,
including
and then
to Freddy's.
And then you get like, your brother kind of sucks, doesn't he? And he's like, yes, he does. I don't know why I made the other guy British. He's probably American. Your brother kind of sucks, huh?
Yeah, what do I sound like in Utah?
Like that. That was not a stereotype, I promise. All right, what else? So he has a bad home life, so he's probably sad all the time because like, oh man,
So you place him as 6 years old, is what you're saying?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Are you guys placing him above or below Elizabeth in age order, or twins?
In age?
Oh, I place him above, but twins isn't interesting. I've literally never considered that. Because they're old enough, I don't know about you guys, but like, okay, they have their own rooms to me. Like if Dave and Mike don't have to share a room,
I had my own room
they're
when
further apart in age.
I had my own room when I was 6.
I did not.
I did not. Wait, yes, I did. I had my own room until I was 6. And
Wait,
then I had
what?
Another brother.
I thought you were like, when I was an infant, they gave me my own room, and then as soon as I turned 6, I had to sleep with in a crib or something.
They popped me out of the crib.
Yeah.
I just also I don't know. He walks down the street to go to Fredbear's.
Yeah, but all the other kids,
his father doesn't care.
All the other kids,
his father doesn't care about him,
and all the other kids are just chilling.
I don't know. I can ask my mother. I had a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, and I was too scared of the animatronics. I can ask her how old I was when that happened.
Well, that's what I think. Because a lot of people,
Chuck E. Cheese either.
A lot of people like that whole what did you see thing, or like what did he see paired with what is seen in the shadows is misunderstood. I think the younger you make him, the better. Honestly, to make him so terrified of those things.
What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say the younger he is, the more realistic it is that he's like, oh my god, Fredbear, no.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the age because he's young. He has no emotional regulation tactics. Constantly seems to be like hyperventilating. Is how I've always interpreted it. But then he's old enough that the brother's friends think it's like a funny insult to call him a baby. So he's not a baby. He's older than a baby.
That's true. I feel like even if I was 14, I would never do that in the first place. But like picking on like a 5-year-old, you kind of gotta have something wrong with you.
Also, it takes 4 14-year-olds to like lift him up.
14.
Well, it actually takes 2, but
14.
The others are just following.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. All right, between
is actually about how Mike is 14 years old.
Oh my god! Yes.
Don't get him started. Don't get Air Raven started. He will look into that.
DMing him right now.
He will look into that.
Dave is 7. Yes, he's half of a Mike.
And then if he and Elizabeth are twins, then we've got 7, 7, and 14.
Yes, we just figured it out. 14 Theory Part 3?
No, please. That's all. He'll rename his channel to 14 Theory Inc. There's only 14 theories from now until the end of time.
You can point yourself to locker 14.
For the federal spirit is Cassidy.
It's not.
But just looking at in room 1280.
Who's there?
Yeah, you know the ad-libs and everything.
Yeah, except for the one at the end. I can't figure out what the person is saying behind. I don't remember where it is. It's like we open real soon or something like that.
Oh, do your best to hold on to Santa. It's just a double. It's just the same lyrics on a different octave.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good about myself.
Don't worry. I call Thanos the greatest writer on her. I literally looked up how to make my ad libs sound like Juice WRLD to do like the telephone effect. I was like, this gotta be fire. Okay, do we believe? So you believe? Okay, hold on a sec. Gibi, how the hell does he get into the plush?
Immaculate.
How does he get into the plush?
My internet just went out. What was the question?
I asked Gibi how, because Gibi thinks Grindchild's inside the plush.
Is the plush?
I'm asking how.
I think it's because the plushes are on his hospital bed.
Oh, and he dies holding
when
it.
He's in the black void. He sees them, and then they all disappear. And then he's with the bear, and then he disappears. So he dies. The only thing on the bed with him is the plush, and he possesses it the exact same way that Charlie possesses
the marionette
puppet. Yeah, it's just like it is a thing that was right next to him when he died,
I will give you fun, epic evidence for that.
Ooh.
In Ultimate Custom Night, Charlie says like the others like animals, but I'm aware, and it speaks in eyes. So Charlotte in the marionette is very aware of who and what it is, possibly because it died possessing something that doesn't have like artificial personality or circuitry or any of that. It was a fucking puppet. And the bite victim through Nightmare Fredbear also talks very sentiently. Like, we know who our friends are, all that stuff.
And you are not one of them.
Yeah.
So does Chica though. I was the first.
I think that's Chica itself talking. Like the animatronic.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if I even agree with that anymore, but when I first thought of that, I'm like, oh, everyone's gonna hate me for this.
Yeah. Okay. Now I have become part of the Shatter Victim mob. I'm sorry.
I don't disagree with Shatter Victim. I'm just not entirely sure what the Shatter Victim cultists believe.
Well, my version of it would be he gets bit, and since his brain gets squishmatized, he is just like cooked. Now, Unwithered Truth, and we talked about this before. Unwithered Truth and I recently in our stream proposed God Victim.
Yes.
What?
Which is like a half. It's like a half joke. It's like a half joke.
Undeniable, factually correct theory. God Victim. Yeah.
But anyway, essentially after he gets bit, all like his agony, buzzer word, that he experienced throughout everything leading up to that week just kind of spreads out over everything Freddy's related. And underscore actually believes that is what Scott made, because you know how Scott has done that weird naming convention where it's like sister location is the location where your sister is. And Pizzeria Simulator, you're simulating a pizzeria to lure Afton in. And help wanted is because the mimic / glitch trap / whatever it was at the time needs help to get out. That whole thing. He thinks that Curse of Dreadbear is literally saying that the bite victim's death put like essentially a fucking curse on everything Fazbear related. So that and Dreadbear has stitches on his forehead as well. Yeah. And so he thinks that it's like
he's fredbear. Yeah.
So he cursed Mangle, he cursed Balloon Boy, he fucking cursed everything, and that's why Charlotte or Yellow Eyes is so desperate to like have him move on, because just by existing, his spirit is like destroying people.
I love it. It's so fun. I love it.
So anyway, So I think that after he dies, he quite literally like shatters over fucking everything Fazbear related. Now, I don't know what Happiest Day is, because I'm assuming in context in the story, Charlotte's not walking up to him and going, Balloon Boy with trees, to make him rest. I don't know what the hell those things are supposed to represent, but I'm assuming whatever they are putting together in Happiest Day are meant to be like memories or something to help him remember who he is. Because also in the logbook, he's very confused. So I think they are helping. It's just helping him to remember who he was so we can move on. And we see that memory and spirit are almost synonymous in the games. Anyways, I'm done now. I'll let you guys talk. I'm talking for like 5 whole minutes.
The main, so like Happiest Day example for me is like in the Fazbear Frights, like Millie is able to move on because like they changed the memory so that she doesn't get decapitated and she goes inside and has a Merry Christmas. And so like that's her happiest day.
What's a lie?
And then it is a lie. But then in FNaF 3, the happiest day is like, oh, you weren't killed by people wearing masks of the Fredbear people. You got a big cake instead. And so that's kind of like the lie of his memory that allows him to move on.
Oh, it's gaslighting them into...
Yeah, it's to give him a happy memory.
Do we want to get into how the hell William Afton knows what a happiest day is?
I just want to say I really hate Return to the Pit because it literally just implies that happiest day is eating cake. Okay, so in the Silver Eyes books, William refers to the animatronics getting possessed as their happiest day.
Yeah, I don't don't think he knows what happiest day is. I think
No.
that was just like a wink.
That was just a funny word from Scott.
Easter egg.
Yeah, it's like how they're always saying I will put you back together, but they don't always mean it in the same way.
God
Or maybe they
doesn't
do,
do
but I don't think they do.
coincidences. Pigtail Girl is the plush. Pigtail Girl's the
God.
plush.
Robin is the greatest writer on earth.
True. Yo, my
I won't
lyrics.
stop saying it.
My lyrics are bangers. Chat, you're gonna love that video when it comes out.
What's in FNaF World? If you glitch into the pond, you get the 3 figures with the glowing box, and it says that that's happiest day.
I have a whole theory on this.
For who?
Okay.
So who's
Yeah, exactly.
who?
Who's it for?
Yeah.
What's going on? I have my theory. I would
Well, because
love to hear
I'm assuming
anybody's.
you are playing at because here's what doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming Glitch Bear is either Michael or Cassidy ?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why. I could see why Michael would access that ending. However,
Yes.
due to Old Man Consequences, that whole shit, Old Man Consequences tells the Glitch Bear sprite to rest. So I'm assuming that Glitch Bear was supposed to be Cassidy. So I don't know why Cassidy's happy ending would be watching TV.
He tells him to rest in UCN. In FNaF World, the dialogue is different.
So it's
no.
So you think he's
Yeah, no, the dialogue is different. It's
You
the
think
I'm
he's
sorry
just-
to say you've gone too far into the code.
So you think he's just talking to 2 different people?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Glitch Bear
Is an avatar.
In-
Yeah, quite. It's just an avatar sprite that somebody controls.
yeah, it's just like it looks like a bear. So him in FNaF World is different than him in UCN. Yeah. What's your theory, Candii?
Oh yeah. Yay. It is that FNaF World is Inception, and you're going down the layers of the crying child's mind to try and find, and that the actual memory that needs to be found is the happiest day memory of Mike, Elizabeth, and
him watching TV.
Watching TV together, yeah, and that you are. It's also a shatter victim theory disguised. The clocks are you binding him specifically to the paraphernalia that's all going to end up in FNaF 3.
Yeah.
And he is happiest
yo.
day in FNaF 3 when it all burns. And so I don't believe Bite Victim is still around in time for UCN. And I think the reason why the ending of FNaF 3 is complicated is because that's the only spirit that moved on. The other 4 didn't.
Until you discover unhappiest day and you realize that T-Dread's the greatest theorist to ever cross this earth.
So we're like possessing. We're putting the magic soul juice, whatever, into like the poster that you click on, and into the wall tiles.
I just had an incredible
and
idea, but I'll
into-
let you finish, Gibi. I had an incredible idea. But
Yeah, into the cupcake things you have to find on the camera. It's like we're physically putting Crying Child's memories into those items so that when they're in the same building, he is contained within that building.
Yes.
That makes perfect sense.
what I was
Thank
going to
you.
say
I'm a
regarding
genius.
that is because when I was saying like I was thinking like, what if we're controlling and like Michael is the Glitch Bear sprite in FNaF World? This is what I was thinking, and I was like, but then his happiest day is him watching like TV with his siblings, and I thought like, well, why would that be Bite Victim's happiest day, or why would that be Michael's happiest day? Because he was like a dickhead. But then I was like, wait a minute, if it's the crying child and that's like the deepest layer you go to, and that's what would make him happy. Like Gibi said, all the happiest days are a fucking lie. He never sat down and watched TV with his brother. His brother was a dickhead. So
He might have before he hit puberty.
I'm just saying, because Gibi was like, Millie has like a fake Christmas. And Bite Victim
She
in
sees a fake
happiest day
party.
itself gets a fake party. It could be like you get a fake, oh yeah, no, your family life was dope the whole time. You know, it could be like that.
I think that the two, if we're interpreting the happiest day from FNaF World as 3 people watching TV, I think the ones on the left and the right are the same height, so that might be evidence of twin theory.
In theory.
Yeah, I would just say the one in the middle is probably Michael.
Yes.
Definitely. I took it a step further as well and said that the player who goes down into the happiest day is Cassidy, and that's why Golden Freddy isn't in FNaF 3, is because when you go down there, you like get stuck and you have to task manage or kill FNaF World in order to get out of that screen. And so I think she's stuck in the crying child's mind.
I think it attaches
Like
part of
Eleanor.
itself to I think it attaches to William after the spring locking, like in the safe room. I think it attaches to him.
That's fair.
I've also heard that because that's similar to kind of like what William does in the Stitch line.
Why couldn't
Right, they're all-
someone
they're all
else
attached to each other.
hitchhike with us?
Mhm.
Andrew is the vengeful spirit.
Do you
Gibi.
actually Do you actually believe? I don't want to shatter the illusion. Do you actually believe that Andrew's the vengeful spirit?
You gotta check out my song to find it. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. You know what? I'll just give you the completely honest answer. I couldn't fucking tell you. I couldn't even attempt to tell you who the vengeful spirit is.
Based answer.
Because there is so much evidence for either that it's just. I would prefer it were Cassidy. I'd prefer to have less Scott cons than necessary. If someone held a gun to my head, I would say that in the game universe, the vengeful spirit is at the very least inside of Golden Freddy.
Yeah.
Take that. I can't say Andrew or Cassidy, but whoever they are, they're probably in Golden Freddy. Especially after 14 Theory, based in Red Pilled.
I'm 100% Cassidy.
I know you both are.
Yep.
I'd prefer it that way.
I leave room.
I hate Andrew. He sucks.
I leave room. But it's more of a 99.99% thing that the books that Fazbear writes at the very least are not games canon. But I need to pretend to not have that opinion until I'm done covering them.
No, I think I would like the story more. This is the way I described it. Is because with Cassidy, you have a bunch of weird stuff that you have to deal with in terms of like, Tails has the pendant in it, so if Tails is canon, that means Frights has to be canon because it has the same remnant pendant. And then if you go, is it Tails fiction? What the hell are the Tails book supposed to be? Because then GGY is essentially the exact same thing that we're supposed to think happened to 46. Yada yada. Anyways, I said underscore either the story is unnecessarily convoluted or the story is ass. You have to pick one. If Andrew is a vengeful spirit, new hit single by the way. The writing
Watch it right now on T-Dread at YouTube.
T-Dread Spotify. My one and only song. We're going platinum, baby. We're going platinum.
Yes.
Yeah, so either the writing actually sucks and Scott didn't reveal major lore until 6 years after a game he made. With Steel Wool, there's an excuse because that had to go through like a third party. He made UCN. So, I don't know how we were supposed to. Maybe you were supposed to like decode the brain matter on William Afton's skull and it would spell Andrew or something. I don't fucking know. But I would prefer if it were Cassidy. I think if it were Cassidy, that'd be a lot better of a lot easier of a story to piece together.
Yeah, and I think as you were just saying, it's like, oh, so the story is that we can't figure it out. We have to wait 6 years for the books. But the books aren't one-to-one with the games. They're just close enough that we can figure out that this character who didn't used to exist now exists.
My problem with that is that with events like fucking GGY, you are so one-to-one that it might as well be in the games. That's
I think Tails. I think Tails or Frights being canon or not being canon don't relate to each other. Like Frights might be totally fake or just not canon, or it could be Frights fiction or whatever, but that has nothing to do with Tails.
And so you would say that the remnant pendant is just the Tails universe equivalent of the Frights remnant pendant?
Yes, the same way that the Ella doll in Frights is the equivalent of the Ella doll in the Silver Eyes, etc. In the movie. I think Scott just has some ideas, and he's like, I like the concept of a necklace. Let's just reuse it. I like the concept of this, and I like the concept of that. Like, is anyone out there being like, actually, the bunny in Bunny Call is William Afton because it's a bunny? It's like, well, no. So we can.
I did see that. I did see that floating around when the book came out.
Because like, why else would Scott use a bunny unless he wanted to confuse us? And the answer is that he wanted to confuse us.
Purple got sun.
Purple bunny.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah, is Candii Bunny canonically William Afton? Purple Bunny.
Candii.
Purple bunny.
Candii.
No, because I spelled it wrong.
Yo, is that canon lore?
Yeah. Okay. For some reason, diehard Andrew fans refuse to acknowledge the concept of a two-dimensional character because they're like, Cassidy is in the logbook and is like kind of nice to the bite victim, so. Therefore, she can't be the vengeful spirit, because the vengeful spirit would have to be 100% a dick to everyone ever, all the time.
I'm making a video about this.
Well,
actually?
She can...
Yeah. Well, ish.
Yeah,
It's
like
about
the vengeful spirit can be nice to Dave and then mean to William.
Well, that's
like,
what I'm saying. Because I'm pretty sure Andrew's like he's not like nice to Jake, but he's not like a total asshole to Jake either, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. What's your video?
Oh yeah, it was just like analyzing different character in the universe's view of justice, and the vengeful spirit's view of justice is always like offender centered, so it's always about punishing Afton, and if like the other victims do end up getting restored, restitution, whatever, like that's fine. It's not like they're against their fellow spirits being put to rest, but like when it comes down to it, if they have to choose, they're always going to choose punishing the bad guy over saving the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read The New Kid while you were researching this video?
No, I wasn't going to touch that heavily on fazbear frights.
I mean the mid kid. I think you've got the name of the story wrong.
Cringe.
Oh, he's mad. He doesn't.
No, the peak kid. So I'm currently in the middle. Right before we started recording this, I was editing my video about it, which is going to go up maybe before this episode goes up. But the ending of that story, I got no idea. I have literally no idea. It deals with justice a lot, and there's a character that's a stand-in probably for Cassidy.
I think you mean it's Andrew is the vengeful spirit because he's in
Her
Golden
name is
Freddy.
Kelsey. It's whatever. But no, the entire story is about justice and Golden Freddy and whatever. I have no idea what it's trying to say. Genuinely no idea what it's trying to say. As far as like morals go.
Well, isn't like
the only thing with frights that I really wanted to touch on is that like the horror of frights is always about like disproportionate karmic justice and like the horror of the horror of it is always that like it's like r/revenge Reddit threads if they were like blown up 100 times and you were like, whoa, holy crap, the revenge was disproportionate.
What do you mean you ate a gumdrop? Now you turned into food.
No, you did.
I gotta get part 2 of the fake fazbear fright stories out.
Yes. I was inspired. I made a little like PowerPoint quiz for my one friend who knows nothing about FNaF. And I had him take that. I was inspired by your guessing the fazbear fright story. So I'm actually going to be posting that in the not too distant future, but I am so hyped for yours.
He got a lot of them right, surprisingly.
Yep. Dude, the raincoat springlock suit idea that you guys had in the first video.
That shit was fire. That was all me. Cryo didn't do nothing. I was like, Cryo, let's come up with some ideas. And he was like, okay. And he just started playing Into the Pit. and I was like, what if? All he would give me correction on is like the age. I'd be like, all right, let's make him like 10 years old. And he'd be like, no, teenager's better. And I'd be like, yeah. we were shooting it back and forth. That sounded sus. Anyway. Okay, so we did all of the Aftons. Do we have any closing comments on the people related to the Aftons that we want to touch on?
Do you think there's any secret Afton? It's Charlie and Afton, you know.
Oh no, I've seen Andrew Afton, Cassidy Afton. Gibi, is the bite victim Cassidy? Tell us.
No.
He's Andrew.
Andrew is the bite victim.
Andrew is the vengeful spirit. Yeah, I think that once Hyperdroid found the name Dave in the logbook, the whole Cassidy is the bite victim theory was just dead forever.
There's still some people that don't think it's Dave because the question you're responding to is too like not obvious enough.
Yes, and I just put out a video about how Scott doesn't do good puzzle design, where it's like the canon ending of Sister Location you unlock by playing the non-canon DLC, and it uses a line from the non-canon ending as if you've heard it before. And I'm like, this is silly and dumb.
Do you have to... Does the scooping ending have to be canon? Doesn't Enter get inside him no matter what?
Yeah, but it literally says fake ending.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But he does does entered inside of him, dog. He does.
Scott, someone in my comments said like, oh, Scott cleared it up on a post explaining what this is. And I'm like, okay, yes. And that just drives home my point that if Scott has to clear up on a post what the heck his game is saying, then he obviously thought it was solvable and we didn't. And it was just confusing. Of all the things that he's had to clear up, that's one of them.
I love smiling at my screen when I see people like, yes, Secret of the Mimic will finally solve the Tales games debate. And I'm like, no, it won't, you idiots.
No, it won't.
He would never. He wouldn't dream of confirming that one way or the other. He wouldn't even dream of it.
I think Security Breach 2 might, but Secret of the Mimic will not.
Dude, he wouldn't even
Unless-
say what
unless-
Mangle's gender is, dude. He's not gonna tell you
Unless
what Mangle's
Henry-
canon.
Henry comes out and says, I made the Mimic and my child died. My child named Dave died, and then I beat up the Mimic. And
My
then Tails
name
aren't-
is
Tails aren't
Henry
games.
Edwin Murray.
Yeah.
And I made
It's
the
not.
Mimic.
It's not.
Emily
impossible.
is my daughter's middle name. Where did you guys get that from?
Well, they have
It's
Murray
so not
Co.
impossible.
They have Murray Co. on the 5 Laps thing now. So that game
I
sucks,
do
by the way.
play 5 laps.
No.
Game is trash, by the way.
It's actually trash.
I mean, it's still in its
Look,
like
I-
demo phase, right?
Yeah.
I have strong feelings. Like I could make a whole guide on how to get through the FNaF fandom and still enjoy yourself. And 5 Laps at Freddy's, watch only Rytos play it. Rytos is so jolly about FNaF
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they love kart racers.
Dude, have you seen people
was
are
very-
saying Midnight Motorist 87 now? Have you seen why?
Yeah.
You've seen why, right?
Because of the dice.
Yeah. What the? How would that even work? That timeline is so utterly insane that it's.
I do like that theory. I think if I, for whatever reason, if Scott came out and he said Orange Guy is William, then I might have to subscribe to that theory because it kind of made sense.
Yeah, but what is he doing in 1987?
The DCI.
Yeah, he's driving. He's going to the GCI. Juniors is the FNaF 2 location in that theory.
Yeah, but we know it's not called Juniors. They literally say it's called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in the game. So
I don't mind.
You don't read the newspaper and it goes, "Welcome to FNaF Juniors."
Weenie Hut Junior.
I wouldn't mind if. Actually, I don't know. This is also completely spitballing, and I might hate this
Yeah.
after I say it. But the different mini games to get the Lore Keeper ending are all kind of showing you who's there. That's not obvious. Like the puppet is not entirely obvious that it's Lefty, especially because you're just like not really that guaranteed to get
Yeah.
the screen that it kind of shows that the puppet is inside Lefty. And then the MCI obviously isn't obvious.
You know, Fruity
Unless you-
Maze.
Yeah, unless you know a lot
Yeah.
about Remnant. And so if Midnight Motorist was showing us that the DCI souls are also here and being set free, it
And
would
Lefty.
follow the motif for me.
Lefty, cry, oh yes, cry-eyed. Dude, that poor guy, he is getting flame grilled on Twitter right now.
About what?
I felt Lefty DCI. I dipped out of Lefty DCI after the first video. I was like, well, that was fun. But
Yeah.
Crying Eyed really wanted to like, no, it has to be real. So he's keeping going with it. I think there's there's a lot interesting about Lefty and like the Candy Cat stories and all that shit. So
Do any people believe that it's Molten DCI and that the MCI were set free in Happiest Day?
that would be immensely confusing.
Is that like a theory that people have, or
I mean, it exists.
on glue?
It's a theory that exists.
Okay.
Yeah, I think when I was making my super long video, I thought about it because at the end of FNaF 2, the toys are scrapped. And so it's like maybe they got sent back to William and maybe that he took their remnant to put in the fun
Yeah,
times.
but he doesn't even
and then-
own. He doesn't own anything anymore. He has to be a literal like night
Yep.
guard because he got booted.
Yep.
So
Well, if the toys were made by Afton Robotics, but they don't recognize William Afton is the guard. So like
yeah.
if you squint, which is every single theory, if you
Yeah.
squint, it works.
Yeah, even Molten MCI has some problems. Mainly like, how the hell does Follow Me work? 'Cause you could.
It happens after the fun times get their remnant. Dab.
So he's just trying to go for like more.
Wait, I also have a theory about this.
Okay,
Hold
let's
up.
hear it.
It's that. Wait, no, I think it
Well, 'cause
requires. soul splitting. Maybe I don't have a theory about it.
Henry literally describes the events of Follow Me as the way the Fun Times got possessed. Again, in the Insanity speech. So like, but like if he, so I'm assuming like most people have to go with the interpretation like he gathered Bonnie's metal, then brought it home, then he got Freddy's and brought it home, and then he got Foxy and brought it home, and then he got this and brought it
It's
home.
raining every single night, and then he leaves the casings there.
Yep. Surely. That's not my fault. That's
It's always
Scott's
rainy
fault.
in Utah.
Because what else is the insanity ending supposed
It's
to
called
be?
Hurricane.
It's always hurricane and hurricane.
What else is he led them there again? He
Again.
overpowered them
again.
again. What else is he referring to?
Robbed them.
He
you know,
took their
robbed them of what
wallet
they had again.
again.
I just don't think that that necessarily means that that led to the fun times. He could have just been taking them apart.
Because originally in the story, that was just supposed to be showing us why they're phantoms instead of physical animatronics for FNaF 3.
I think so. In the original story, believe it or not, Purple Guy wasn't actually a mad scientist. That was the Scott Con. He was just he's a murderer. Crazy, right? And I think originally Follow Me is literally just him trying to get rid of evidence. Like if I'm Scott in 2015, yeah. But then I'm Scott in 2016. And I'm like, this guy is the Remnant Master. He's a level 12 wizard with potions. He's gonna. He's a mage.
So
do we think? I was gonna say I do think that the phantoms in FNaF 3 are actually phantoms, and that the hallucination line is kind of like the faulty wiring line. It's just like the explanation for the supernatural stuff. I know that you just said that, Candii, but T-Dread, do you think that they're hallucinations or actually ghosts?
Who the fuck is possessing Balloon Boy?
A mimic.
Hi.
Checkmate, Gibson Horror Homestead. Checkmate.
The mimic.
Dude, people are actually trying to fit him into the old games now.
Yeah, he's the third paper plate doll. Didn't you watch the Game Theory?
Thomas Game Theory?
Thomas Game.
Full name, Game Thomas Theory.
Second.
There's a big theory that like Mimic was an endoskeleton in the safe room, and Mimic was switched on when he saw the MCI, and that's why he became William Afton. Not because he got scanned into a VR game and was told, "Hey, be William Afton," which they literally they give you in the text of the game.
Yes. To be fair, every single theory ignores the endos in FNaF 1 and 2, partially because it completely ruins the conceit that the animatronics will stuff an endo into a suit, so they shouldn't be there. But like my own theories, I'm always like, of course I need to explain JJ. JJ's in the game. That requires an explanation in the lore. And I see the Endo 2 suit in FNaF 2. I'm like, no, that's just an Easter egg. It's not real.
Balloon Joy. Also, what the heck is Yendo?
That too.
People think it's Golden Freddy somehow. I don't know how she gets in there, but she's in there apparently.
It's because it's yellow.
Oh no, I know. So Unwithered Truth, his idea is that Cassidy can literally just possess fucking anything she wants. Essentially.
That's fun.
So like the reason that Golden Freddy looks normal in so obviously this if this is true, this would be a Scott Con. But the reason Golden Freddy looks normal in FNaF 1 is because Cassidy's just like it's not even a real suit. Cassidy's just like, all right, I'm going in. I'm gonna match what Freddy looks like. FNaF 2, it looks like that because the suit was withered. FNaF 4, there's an interpretation that it's Cassidy speaking through the plush, and it just takes the form of it in an 8-bit minigame. Because
are you telling me that Cassidy is mimicking other characters?
Yep. And then in Yendo, it just possesses a bunch of wires and makes it look like Yendo.
Andrew is the vengeful spirit.
And then in FNaF 6, it becomes
Cassidy is the mimic.
Cassidy's the fucking mimic. Yeah.
Yendo's the blob, man.
Do we think this is still technically Afton adjacent, so I'm allowed to speak about it? Do we think that do we think Scott originally intended to be the mimic, but Steelwool was like, oh, look, William Afton again? Like, what do we think the situation was?
I think.
Or was the mimic patched in? Was the mimic like, shit? They didn't like that.
I think at the very least, the mimic program running the entire Pizzaplex was intended. And it's like kind of like Glitch Trap, where it's this AI that's ruling over everything, and then for whatever reason, it thinks it's William. And so it makes its mission to rebuild William. And so it takes Vanessa's mind, and maybe it takes Gregory if he's patient 46 in GGY's canon or whatever. Definitely. And it's like,
there's no way it's not, but yeah, continue.
You're going in the basement, you're getting these parts, you're going to rebuild Burn Trap, and then we're going to like put my AI on him to bring him back to life. So I think that was probably the original story. And that didn't happen by the end of Security Breach, which is why he wasn't supposed to move.
I'm going to say it. I feel like Scott, I honestly don't know how he messed up that badly, considering in FNaF 4, the same exact thing happened where he was like, I will leave clues and people will find them. And then nobody did. So I feel like, I don't know, it's very weird to me that he made another FNaF 4, basically.
He also had to come out and say, after Help Wanted, he had to clear up and be like, no, guys, I'm not saying that the first couple games aren't canon. I just
that
had
was
to make
fair.
a new universe
That was
reason.
a fair misconception. That was a fair misconception, considering he used himself as the game developer.
I agree. It was a fair misconception. But there's other things that I would also think should be fair misconceptions that Scott has never cleared up, like the canonicity of the books. That one's kind of important, but Scott refuses.
Because people will get mad at that one. People will get mad, you know.
Or if he says they're not canon, people won't buy them as much.
True. Scott would never want money, though. Impossible.
Money.
Well, yeah, kind of thinking that he has reason, if they're not canon, to not tell people that. But if they were canon, I don't know why he wouldn't tell people that.
If I'm Scott, I'd be like, hey, guys, so the books aren't in the universe of the games, but the character dynamics in the books are absolutely necessary to understand like the game counterparts of them. So buy the books, guys. But that's what I'd say. I'd be like, if you want to know the lore, you still need to have the books because they will literally tell you what's going on just with different words. That's what
if the books were literally canon, why wouldn't Scott just say so? I think they'd sell more if everyone knew they were. If they just slotted in between the games, I think more people would buy them.
But he did say they were canon, Gibi, and they removed Barnes and Noble's description or whatever it was.
From the world of the games, or whatever the line was.
It's like how the Mario movie is set in the world of Mario. That must mean that it's in the games.
That was a Ryto's explanation, right?
Oh, I didn't even know that. I was just shooting that off. Just how when the Harry Potter movies are in the world of Harry Potter. There you go. That could be your version of that, because you did your whole video on that, and of course you did get crucified on Twitter. I saw it. It was beautiful.
Good.
You didn't even notice? You weren't checking?
Oh no, I literally ignore it. Like I have people who just like leave hate comments in my comment section. I'm like, this is funny, and I don't ban them. If they start being mean to like other commenters, I might, but I don't ban them because I'm like, part of me is like, when the next game comes out, if they're proven wrong, I want to see it.
Then you respond to them like, oh, how do you feel, little Timmy?
No, I would personally just look. I wouldn't respond and be like, look at this man, and laugh.
Not to flex, but my commenters are so freaking nice. Literally,
I'm like, be nice.
All of the nicest people come to my chat. That or everyone comes to my chat and is nice. They just turn nice in my chat.
I don't even make theories, and people still find a way to call me an idiot. I've made it this far in the FNaF Theory space without a single theory video on my channel.
Incredible.
I just talk about what other people said, and I call them stupid.
It's FNaF Theories. It's like, being a political commentator. You don't have to take a side. You just say everyone's stupid but me, and then don't elaborate.
Yeah, well, most of those comments are on the overanalyzing streams because we purposely try to say the stupidest thing ever and make it work, and somehow it usually does work. Like 14 Theories started as a joke, but then the more we went into it, we were like, wait.
You're telling me 14 Theories not a joke?
No. I believe some version of it.
I believe basically what the beginning of Ryto's video.
Point. The only thing I think is intentional is the 14 being slanted on the locker. That's it. That's the only thing I think is intentional about 14 Theory.
Yes.
And like also
is
maybe
the FNaF one coming out in 14.
Also maybe I've gotten that comment like 40 times.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they're like, it doesn't mean anything about Golden Freddy. It's just pointing to the direction that it came out in 14. And I was like, yeah, I get it, maybe.
An Easter egg about how Help Wanted 2 came out December 14th of 2023.
So true.
Wow. Scott knew ahead of time. He planned it.
Dude, how do you go from, I said this in the big video we did, how as Scott does that even happen where you're like, hey guys, by the way, Burn Trap, not supposed to move. And then Steelable goes, hey man, he's the final boss of the game. And you're like, all right, ship it.
He could have even just told them like, just take out like the final cutscene or whatever. Like, I don't understand.
I'm guessing the crunch. I'm guessing the crunch got so bad he just had to leave it in.
Did he playtest it?
No, I'm pretty sure he literally said no.
He said he didn't playtest Help Wanted because the VR was too scary.
Too scary. Also, this is all the way back on is Burn Trap the Mimic all along. Like Help Wanted laid the ground so beautifully for the Mimic, and it's a shame that Security Breach muddled it all, because if it was the Mimic all along, like, I think the arc would have been gorgeous. But instead it's like a gorgeous beginning and then really bumpy.
Yeah, I could see it being the Mimic all along. I could also see Scott Cawthon thinking it would be a good idea to have William upload his consciousness into computer code. So,
like, gosh darn it, what's the guy from Portal? Cave Johnson. There we go.
Yes.
do you think that the Mimic was
Cherry.
always a thing, or do you think it was William Afton at first in like Help Wanted?
I think the Mimic was the plan the whole time. I think Scott had stuff he wanted to say about like AI. He wanted to do his little sci-fi story.
Yeah, he
and I
does
think
like
that
that
the
kind of
idea was that the idea was like, you know, you tell the robot to mimic things and then it sees something bad and then it mimics the bad thing and you can't control it. Like, I think that was the plan the whole time. I just think that security breach, both like it got delayed and they didn't do what he said and all this other stuff he didn't have control over, and you got to coincide the publishing of the books with the games, and like those two parts of the company don't talk to each other. Like, I think that the way the story was told got out of his hands, which is why I hope that once this era is over, in retrospect, it'll all make sense.
Dude, FNaF is too profitable, so like after the Mimic era, I feel like he has no choice but to go to Eleanor.
Oh God. Do we think that it's been years, literally years at this point. There's all those circus themed toys that came out, and everyone's like, "This is hinting at the next game," and like maybe that's hinting at something that happens in Secret of the Mimic. But even if that's the case, the circus toys came out like 5 years ago.
That would
They
mean
were
that,
so cute. I wanted them.
That would mean that Scott truly did plan his story, which would make it impossible. They're not showing up. That would mean that Scott actually planned something in advance.
I wonder if at some point they'll show up as more of like an Easter egg.
Yeah. I'm going to say this in a video I'm making later on, but there's a line from Scott in the Dawko interview where he goes, I inconvenience MatPat with my games, and MatPat inconveniences me with his theories. And some guy was making a video about why the story of FNaF was ass. And he made a joke about how, like, oh, what, Scott? Matt inconveniencing... What, Scott? Matt inconveniences you because he's right and now you have to change your game because he solved it? I think it's the opposite. I think Matt inconveniences Scott because sometimes he is so incredibly wrong and everyone believes it.
Cough, cough, dream theory, cough, cough.
Yes, yep. So that's what I think Scott meant by he inconveniences me with his theories, because now Scott's like, Mike victim, oh, I gotta write a whole book.
At least like when it was just Matt, right? Because right now it seems like the theorist community is divided between like 10 different YouTubers.
The Fire Nation.
So, yeah, it's impossible for him to know. It's impossible for him to know like what the community actually thinks. At least when it was just MatPat, he'd be like, okay, they think this, I better clear that up in the next game.
Yeah, but now there's like big FNaF tubers, so.
If I was Scott, I would like never watch YouTube videos about FNaF anymore.
I think he still does. He still does.
But we'll never know which ones. We know that Steelwool watches FNaF, John.
Yeah.
We know that what's his name? Mr. Blumhouse, Jason Blum, watches Game Theory.
I think
that's frightening.
I think that John's theories, a lot of them are very out there, but he notices details that nobody else does. And it's like, huh. That's what I love about watching.
He said like he makes his theories for fun, like his whole Midnight Motorist, the crying child is a robot who saw his own death. Like after that video came out, he's like, I don't even believe that. It's just like I followed a string. I followed the evidence to see what would happen. People are giving me death threats. Oh yeah, over a theory I don't even believe.
No, people got real mean about that.
It's a YouTube video, dudes.
Yeah. All right, I think we can start wrapping up. We've been here a while.
Oh, good heavens. Sorry, that was not in response to that. Somebody, like, destroyed the apartment above me.
Oh, lordy.
Falling through the floor. No.
It kind of sounded like it.
All right, any final thoughts on the Aftons, Candii? Is Will Care the truth?
Will...
Is Bite Victim shattered?
Wait, what's the name of, like, love that isn't real love? Will
Obsession
attach. Will attach. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Will
I guess.
unhealthy
Yeah,
attachment
that's.
style.
I don't actually know that. I'm sure it is a theory. I don't know the name for it.
Yeah.
Will anxious avoidant.
Just avoid parenting style. That's crazy. No, I had fun though. Like, good stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, I love talking about the Aftons because so many of them are the driving force. And one of my favorite like just parts of FNaF, apart from vibes, obviously, is trying to think about character motivations when we get very little on most of them. I think theorizing is often like writing fanfic, even though I haven't written fanfic.
Yeah.
But now I have because I'm a theorist. So it's really freaking fun. I don't know.
Yeah, talking about the Aftons
what
is
Elizabeth's
really fun.
motive is, Afton's motive is, stuff like that.
I've always liked talking about the Afton family. Also, viewers, I accidentally opened the inspiration tab on YouTube, which makes AI garbage, and it told me to make this video. So if it gets under 8,000 views, that's confirming that YouTube inspiration tab is a sham.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Gibi, final thoughts.
I'm gonna say my favorite thing about the Aftons is that they're British, because it lets you know, it let us know when Mike and William are talking. They're like, oh, those are Aftons. So that was a cool design decision.
And
Thank you, Scott.
Cadet, and Candii Cadet is an Afton.
Yo, I think someone asked me about that. I think I made like a topic of my video talking about that. Is Candii Cadet?
I saw some title. I don't think I watched it, but I saw it in a title like, is Candii Cadet an Afton? And I was like, what is this guy saying?
I think that was one of my Q&A videos where people just say stuff and then I choose like 2 or 3 of the questions to make the title and thumbnail. Totally not clickbait because it's in the video itself.
I can't wait for the Mangle save they them.
That one, I'm like, I can't make this a video, but I can totally make it a community poll. And people are mad. People are like, why would you think that? What are you even talking about? I'm like, this is clearly a joke.
A joke. Please. Yeah, I saw and I knew it was a joke. I was like, oh my God, Gibi.
Save them is about Mangle because their pronoun is them. Get it? And people are like, no, this is factually incorrect, actually. I'm like, okay. But yeah, love the Aftons. Obviously, we know like nothing about any character in FNaF, but like my understanding and interpretation of Michael Afton is like one of my favorite characters of all time, which is weird because as like anybody just said, like I'm saying that my own fan fiction character is my favorite character. It's like my favorite character is this guy who I just like invented in my head because there's no textual evidence about him.
I would have really liked if they just adapted Michael Afton's story into a movie. That would have been so nice. Yeah. But then because then Scott would have to confirm an insane amount of things.
Yep.
If he ever did that, if he made like a game canon story.
What are we calling the FNaF movie? Is it not?
Well, that's Mike Schmidt.
Well, there's
Michael
theories.
Michael Afton is still adapted, right? As a half Vanessa, half Mike Schmidt character.
Well, some people think that they're gonna do a fucking Darth Vader, I'm your father reveal. Which I could see Scott. I could see Scott doing. I could see it.
If Mike's mother was William's ex-wife, and therefore Vanessa and Mike are twins, and they each kept one in the divorce, and that's why William stole Garrett because he wanted to get
like
back.
Scott wouldn't do this. You're acting like Scott wouldn't do this.
This is exactly what I think he's going to do. Very possible.
Yeah. I think that
love the Aftons. Love good old Billy Afton. That's it.
Luckily, they're all dead and we'll never see them again. And there will not be cameos in Secret of the Mimic. I repeat, there will not be cameos.
There will not be cameos. William Afton cameos.
Will cameos?
Secret of the Mimic. We're gonna get shoved into Mexus at the end. That's my one prediction that I need to make and say publicly.
We become Mexus
at some point. Yeah, we're going to become Mexus. It's going to turn out that Mexus is supernatural and haunted by somebody who was killed by the Mimic in 1979, or sometime thereafter, but not that long thereafter. And I had to say this prediction on a public forum in case it becomes true.
A counter prediction is that the van that has the Mexus in it is the van that killed Dave, and that Dave is in the Mexus.
We made a bingo card.
On the road.
Gibby, crying eyed.
There's a car.
Yeah, we all made a bingo card. I'll send it to you guys. We made a Secret of the Mimic bingo card.
That's crazy.
It's got shit on it. It's hilarious. I forget what's one of the things we did.
Oh, there was a like Henry cameo. You go underground to the sister location bunker.
Yeah,
there's like
you
a bunch
see
of them,
fredbears. You see the FNaF 4 box. Someone
The puppet is there.
Someone distinctly uses the words "secret of the mimic" in that order.
It truly was the secret
we
of
get
the
something
mimic.
if we win the bingo? If we randomize our little bingo card and get bingo?
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make like you put in like 100 or so like different things and then randomize it and then everyone
I'll
gets one.
send you a
like it there.
$10 Uber Eats gift card.
Taco Bell.
True. Oh, have you heard about the T-Dress
Yes.
Taco Bell heist?
Yes.
All right, chat, we'll stop the podcast here because I'm about to confess to a crime. See you later.